And we are live. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the channel. For new people here, we're doing a live Q&A session. So if you're watching the replay, we're going to try and use timestamps. And what we're going to break down today is we're going to be talking about different ways that you can look at the business side of YouTube. And we're going to talk about different ways to monetize. We are going to talk a little bit about some of what you would need to know about your tax situation as a YouTuber. And really, this is all about the perspective and understanding the business model of being a full-time content creator. So there's going to be a lot that is going to be covered with regard to this topic. It is a lot. It's very involved. You are going to be seeing data from my YouTube dashboard. I'm going to be showing you one of my affiliate backend programs. I'm going to be showing you one of my e-commerce platforms. And we're really going to break down the diversity of income streams from YouTube. We're going to talk about how much money I really feel would be comfortable for you being a full-time content creator, because a lot of people don't know about the tax situations. They don't know about the profit first business model. They don't know about what a business model would look like in general as a content creator. There's just a lot of things that people don't know. So I would appreciate everyone sharing the replay of this video in any places that you think creators spend time. So if you're in Reddit, post this to the YouTuber subreddits. If you're in Facebook groups with YouTube, then I would really appreciate you sharing there. Discord, just anywhere and everywhere you can share both the live stream and the replay would definitely be appreciated, because it will help more people out. And we're really going to be talking about the economics of YouTube, because I don't think a lot of people understand it beyond YouTube monetization and AdSense. So we're going to be dealing with that. Benji Travis is here in the chat. You are welcome to hop on a little bit later. I think you're wrapping up some stuff in Clubhouse right now. So shout out to all the Clubhouse gang. And I also want to shout out the sponsor of this, because we will talk about sponsorships and brand deals. I want to shout out our two sponsors, both StreamYard, the simplest live streaming solution that there absolutely is. It's letting us live stream to a Facebook group, a Facebook page, a LinkedIn live page, a YouTube channel, and a Twitter via Periscope all at the same time. It is the simplest solution for live streaming, and it's also free to start with most of the features. So that is linked down below if you guys want to check that out. Also, shout out to our friends at TubeBuddy, the best SEO tool for YouTube, also the best productivity tool for YouTube, in my opinion. I've been using it for a number of years, been also partnered with them as an affiliate and them sponsoring content for quite a while. They support content creators, and you can go ahead and get a free trial of TubeBuddy, or rather not a free trial, it's the free version of TubeBuddy with the link down below. So you can get free versions of StreamYard and TubeBuddy. Both of them are linked down below. Thank you to them for sponsoring today's live stream. And yes, I do want to talk about brand deals and partnerships and those things. And by the way, for people who are familiar with the content, we will not be doing channel reviews. This is really just going to be about how we build income streams and go full-time on YouTube, and also what it takes to be a full-time content creator. So just for a little bit of transparency right off the start, and this isn't necessary and you'll almost never see people do this, I want to show you guys some of the back end of my YouTube channel. I want to show you a little bit of my YouTube dashboard. And this is going to include the money that I make from YouTube specifically. Now I make more money than this from my YouTube channel, but this is specifically AdSense, and we'll get into that, or rather YouTube partner program, because it's more than AdSense, but we'll get into that in a minute. But this is how much I've made in the last 28 days, and here is January as well, and you kind of get a look that YouTube income can be sporadic. It can be great. Now I know that this CPM rate seems absurd and ridiculous to the majority of you, because it's a point that I've been wanting to make about YouTube, is that not all YouTube niches and views are equal or are going to be, because of the way that advertising works. It's also sporadic due to things like the virus, for example. Ad revenue can fluctuate because the ads for your niche might be different. The ads for your niche might be different than the ads for someone else's niche, and the industry that your niche gets ads from could be wildly different than another creator's. So there's no point in comparing your views to estimate somebody's income. There's also not a lot of point in using Social Blade to try to determine a YouTuber's income, because while Social Blade can be great for other things, and I'm not knocking them, it is not representative of the income that someone makes on YouTube, especially not even from their ad revenue, because it is based on data that they do not have access to. They have publicly available data for your views and your subscribers, but not your ad revenue. So I want to make it clear that you cannot verify a YouTuber's income if they do not show it to you. So that just is so I can address all of the skepticism and all of the comments about stuff that's fake and all of that BS. I just want to get it out of the way so that we can move on to giving you guys some real value. Okay. And you guys know I have to address that. And you guys know what the deal is with that, with people screaming that everybody is, whatever. But I want to address that YouTube ad revenue is not the only way to make money on YouTube. It's not even it's not even always the best way, because just remember, with my revenue, my CPM, the ad revenue that I get is going to be wildly different than yours, because I'm in a niche that's high paying in business. If you're an entertainment YouTuber, you could get more views than me, and this money could be reduced by to a tenth of the same amount of money on double the views. I might make a penny or more per view. You might make a tenth of a penny per view if you are an entertainment-based YouTube channel. And if you're comfortable in the chat, if you want to tell us what niche you're in and what CPM rate you're getting, that might help a lot of people in the live stream understand exactly what I'm talking about. Gaming does not get high CPMs at all, but yet a lot of people want to do gaming. There are different niches like outdoor, and there are a lot of things outside of business that do $10 CPMs. Tech can do high CPMs, like gaming, and pranks and entertainment does very low CPM numbers with a lot of things. So I would just want to make that abundantly clear that there are different ways to earn on YouTube that are very important, because you won't be able to always rely on AdSense, and AdSense isn't always consistent. So I want to make that abundantly clear. So we're going to see a bunch of people in the chat bringing that up and showing you guys their CPMs. I want to give you some real value here that I think is going to help you. Here are some different ways that you can approach ad revenue and things on YouTube, and not just ad revenue, but here are some different ways, some different income sources. This is not all of them, but here are different income sources for YouTube. So you could obviously make money from your YouTube AdSense, and that can be very powerful for a lot of you, okay? A lot of you should be looking at the ability to make money from ads, though, by repurposing your YouTube content to Facebook. A lot of you don't like Facebook, but if you can get 10,000 followers on Facebook, and I think it's about maybe 1,000 hours of watch time versus YouTube's 4,000. It's kind of flipping the numbers a little bit, but if you can get 10,000, and I believe it's 1,000 watch hours and 10,000 followers on Facebook, you can earn ad revenue that might actually be higher than YouTube right now. So you have that for ad revenue. So those are options in terms of ad revenue. Then a lot of you could be doing more things with e-commerce, and e-commerce doesn't have to be selling online courses or digital products. E-commerce can also be print on demand. It could also be going into something with a partner and being able to create a physical product of some type beyond merchandise or beyond a clothing line. Some of you could do e-commerce by actually selling digital downloads of things like photo LUTs, templates, things like that. I do template assets for YouTube content creators. I have the YouTube Starter Kit, which is also linked down below if you want to check out the YouTube Starter Kit. It's over 100 Photoshop templates, but artists and creative people can make an unlimited amount of products, and it doesn't have to be online courses. I don't think there's anything wrong with online courses as long as you're giving real value, by the way. So you can do e-commerce. You can do affiliate marketing like I talk about, and that could be more than Amazon affiliate marketing, although that's usually people's gateway into it. So you could do affiliate marketing, and that could be extremely lucrative for a lot of you. So that's another way to monetize. So we've already talked about ads, we've talked about e-commerce, we've talked about affiliate marketing. There are a lot of other things. Some of you are musicians. You could make royalty income from streaming. Some of you, because you can make content and earn royalties on other platforms. You could earn money on Skillshare. And that would be comparable somewhat to YouTube for a lot of you using the same skill set. So there are a ton of opportunities. There's actually a ton of opportunities. And again, if you're doing something, someone asked about woodworking. Okay. Someone asked about woodworking, power tools, and machines. You could become an affiliate, not just through Amazon, but there's a lot of places you can become affiliate of. And then you would make like quite a bit of money potentially off of that. And then there's also the fact that you could obviously, out of all of this, you can go into brand deals. Brand deals and sponsorship is another big revenue stream for content creators. So there's all these different ways that you could be monetizing, but what happens is a lot of content creators overly rely on ad revenue and sponsorships, and then they're stuck on the YouTube treadmill, and then they often end up burning out. They end up no better off than they were at a 9-to-5 job. They end up turning something they love sometimes into something that they hate, because when you have to do nothing but brand deals, and then you have to worry constantly about your views, you have this anxiety. You have this huge anxiety, okay? And this is a big deal. This is a big deal. So when you end up on the YouTube treadmill, you end up possibly and potentially burning out. And so I just want to talk about that because there's so many different ways to monetize. I also want to give a quick shout out to Roger Wakefield. Roger Wakefield is out here crushing it on YouTube, and he came from the trades and services. A lot of you also need to consider, what do you do as your exit strategy from YouTube? And the thing is, for a lot of you, it would be your skills. Now, Roger, he has a trade. He was Roger the Expert Plumber, and now his personal brand is Roger Wakefield. So the thing is, yes, I believe in monetizing your personal brand. I also believe in monetizing your knowledge and skills. That's why, again, I'm not against anyone who has an actual skill, especially if they come from the trades, selling courses or selling knowledge or building a membership program or any of that. Membership programs can be great, not just YouTube and Patreon, which are other revenue streams, but even your own membership on your own website that you own, because then you don't have to be beholden to social media platforms and them changing rules on you. We talked about this in another video. I believe in having your own website, your own email list, but also your own platform to do direct to consumer, whether you're selling a product or selling a service. I believe in that. I believe in having a way where you control your income. And there's a point where if you're too reliant on YouTube and brand deals, then you don't even own your own business. So I believe in those things. I believe in having an email list. I believe in having a website. We talked about this in my previous video. Social media is over. You need a website and an email list. And again, I really think that a lot of you need to start thinking and treating this as a career and as a business opportunity and not your quote unquote dream job, because you need to put yourself in a position to where you don't want to quit and where you can't be fired technically, okay? So you need to also expand your platforms and your revenue streams, especially for the brand deal's sake of scaling. We'll talk about that in a minute, and I'll even show you guys my media kit for brand deals. But I want to go into another revenue stream here that I want to show you. I want to show you the affiliate marketing for just one of my platforms here. And it's going to be one that you're probably familiar with. It's going to be TubeBuddy. Okay. So this is TubeBuddy, and we've talked about this before. We've talked about my affiliate income with TubeBuddy, and it does obviously very well for me. We're starting a new month, so that's where that 0 comes in, because we're starting a new month. But this does very well with me. But this is what's called recurring affiliate revenue. So this is every month. This is recurring, and this is closer to the normal on that. So this is recurring. Okay. So that's a revenue stream that exists outside of YouTube and will continue to exist outside of YouTube. And then here is another one. This one is my own platform within Kajabi. This is for awesomecreatoracademy.com. And no, we're not doing channel reviews, and we're not doing any exceptions on channel reviews. But this is awesomecreatoracademy.com's backend. Now, this isn't every single month or anything. This isn't every single month. Let's, I wonder if I can, how can I do this? I think there's a toggle for me to do the last, hang on, let me try this toggle here. Let me do this. Okay. Hang on. Okay. So Awesome Creator Academy does very well for me. Obviously, I actually make more money technically through other means than by selling my coaching. I don't have a $500 course as of the making of this video. So I'm not making this from course sales. I'm making this from membership, which is me selling my time at scale to a group. And I'm making it from selling my time through one-on-one calls in terms of coaching. This isn't even the consulting that I do sometimes one-on-one with brands. I started this at the end of 2017. So I've been doing this for about 3 years. None of that happens overnight. Now, the reason that I wanted to show you guys both of those is I wanted to show you two things aside from YouTube ad revenue that I do to give myself a stable and secure income as a content creator, because I want you to think of yourself as a full-time content creator instead of a full-time YouTuber. I do not want you to be beholden to the YouTube platform. As much as I love the YouTube platform, I'm one of the people who believes they get it more right than wrong. I'm one of the people who gets criticized for not criticizing YouTube enough, ironically. So what I want to do is I want you to think about how you monetize outside of YouTube AdSense. I showed you my AdSense. I showed you the reality of that, but I have a genuine concern and I want to teach you guys how to budget around the idea of what you need as a full-time income as a creator. And that's why I'm also going to teach you about business on this chat today. I'm going to teach you about something called the profit first business model and why I believe this is essential to anyone in the creator economy and why I kind of try to approach it from eventually, not right off the bat, not in your first year, not in your second year, but eventually I want to get you to having a six-figure income as a content creator, not necessarily as a YouTuber, but as a content creator. I want you to make six figures. And it's because I've made a determination that if you want to be self-employed, that's probably the most reasonable place to go, even without working in New York and California. Now, a lot of people say that's far-fetched. Now, a lot of people think that that's let's shoot for rich people problems. And that doesn't make you rich. It doesn't even make you privileged. It makes you comfortable because like you have to look at what this breakdown is because almost no one will teach you this. If we made $100,000 a year, if we're spending money on our business properly to grow it, we're probably going to spend money to make money. And that money is probably going to be $30,000. If we're not living in New York and California, to be able to reasonably as a self-employed person be comfortable and safe, we need to make about $50,000 a year that we're pocketing after spending money on the business, and we need money for our taxes, and then we need to be putting away some additional capital for the business, for emergencies for the business, not emergencies for us in our life and our piggy bank, but for the business. And then we have to take that same 50,000 and we have to do a 50, 30, 20 model in our personal household budget. I also want to caveat, this is not financial advice. Talk to a CPA, talk to a tax person, talk to a lawyer, talk to a financial planner. I am not those things. I'm just a YouTube content creator and a small business owner talking about the things that I do and that I think matter and that I think will help you. Because almost nobody in YouTube, everyone will talk to you about how to make money on AdSense all day, every day. You'll have a bunch of 20-something-year-olds telling you how to get brand deals every day, all day, and I have nothing against that. This is important, especially for the over 30 crowd in here that's trying to do this. This is important. You got bills to pay. You got a household to run. Some of you already need to be doing household budgeting. If we were making $50,000, which is going to roughly be about $4,200 a month, you need to be able to budget and really look at things like necessities, wants, and then savings and debt and things of that nature. This, to me, is almost too modest, to be honest. So for me, this is about bare minimums, and this is why I believe we need to make this amount of money to be full-time content creators. Because as a full-time content creator, I genuinely believe that you're going to have to spend maybe $30,000 a year to scale to start making more than $100,000 to sustain your online business and to be able to cover things. Because where's this $30,000 go? This $30,000 goes into accounting and bookkeeping. This $30,000 goes into possibly having a personal assistant. This $30,000 goes into the offset if you have someone who's getting brand deals for you. This $30,000 goes into if you need to travel to do collaborations. This $30,000 goes into your camera equipment. This goes into getting a new laptop or camera, replacing that if it should break, if the worst should happen. This is the serious stuff. This is really about thinking about, okay, to scale and to put into my YouTube business, $30,000 a year isn't really as much money as you might think it is. It's a lot. Believe me, it's what I used to earn. But like, it's about $2,500 a month, but maybe not every month, but theoretically set aside for your business. And that $2,500 a month could help you with bringing on your first part-time employee to help you. Like we have some great people in here that have just started the process of bringing people on and getting help. And a lot of them are starting to earn six figures from YouTube. People like CJ Plugged, formerly CJ Knows Tech, who was crushing it. People like Roger Wakefield, people that are out here trying to do this for real. And again, this is not the perspective of, 20 something year old on YouTube. I have nothing against that, but I'm just saying that there is a situation where you might have real expenses. And some of that is going to be the fact that you're going to have to pay for insurance. By the way, operating expenses include insurance for your hardware and for your company, and business insurance, so that when you're doing these brand deals, you have coverage. You're covered in case you make a mistake. All right. So insurance is something people don't talk about. Paying your taxes. You're usually going to end up, if you're in that $100,000 range, with a 15% effective tax rate. I'm not a tax person, but I used two of these profit first calculators, and they really do help you with managing that. But you have to think about things like self-employment taxes, because you don't have an employer to cover that for you anymore. You have to cover your own healthcare coverage and insurance and all of these things. So that's why, again, we need to be thinking about, are we pocketing and paying ourselves at least $50,000 a year to take care of home? Do we have $30,000 a year in the coffers to do everything that our business needs to not only stay alive, but to grow in the future? Okay. And that makes this huge difference. I mean, Dr. Scott here is saying people aren't ready for that first tax filing when they get started to make full-time money. And he's absolutely right. Even I wasn't. Okay. And I ended up having to pay some back taxes because I didn't have anyone to tell me any of this. So I'm trying to help you really, truly, deeply understand this, because it's that important and it's powerful to understand how you're going to plan for this. Now, this is like the real economics here of YouTube. And so look into this profit first model. You can plug however much you're making into this, and you can do these calculators and stuff like that. So just look into profit first, but it's important. And then look into something like NerdWallet to do like the budget calculator for that, 50,000 or whatever it is that you're plugging in a year for your yearly income, and divide it by your monthly, and then really think about it. Your housing, your food, all of that stuff, and your entertainments, the other things you don't think about, and then savings and debt. And I think that this becomes important, because if you look, that's not a lot of money that so you're not going to be living the high life. Even if people think you'd be living the high life making $100,000, they're not realizing that it's $100,000, but you're really only paying yourself, 50,000, which is the median. 55 is the median average salary in America, but it's really down to the fact that you're paying the government a nice little chunk of your money here, and then you're paying your business. You're investing in the growth of your business and the maintenance of your business. So it's really important, And Snugs here actually started breaking everything into thirds. And then you put a third back into the business, a third for taxes, and a third for your pocket. And I like that. That works mentally for a lot of people. It's kind of similar here, but what we're doing instead is we're being realistic about the effective tax rate, because when you get into higher tax brackets, it will be a third when you get into higher tax brackets. But that's a nice problem to have. But the reason we're paying ourselves 50% is because that's reasonable to live off of if we're talking about $100,000. And the reason that I bring this up is people quit their job too early to do YouTube. So there are a lot of creators here. Like, if you're a full-time content creator, just let people in the chat know, and let them know, like, hey, full-time content creator here. You don't have to tell them how much you make. But the reason I bring this up is people quit their day job too soon. And no one talks about this in YouTube. And so what would a practical version of becoming a full-time YouTuber look like? When is it okay to quit your day job? And the thing is, the problem is that people don't realize that they're going to have to pay a lot of these self-employment taxes. A lot of people don't think about the taxes situation, what they're going to have to give to Uncle Sam, right? They also don't think about all of the expenses that they have to cover now that they don't have the benefits that came with being an employee. When you're an employee, you might be taking for granted some of your employment benefits, healthcare insurance, okay, and things like that. I'm not going to tell you how much I make. I showed you a lot of how much I make. I showed you how much I make in AdSense. I showed you how much I made on one of my affiliates, and I showed you the back end of one of my e-commerce platforms. I do not literally need to tell you my yearly income. Maybe one of these days I'll do it. It's like, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you when it's $1 million a year. How about that? I'll tell you when it's $1 million a year. But that's, cause like, why does that matter? Because I already proved more than one time that I'm doing well over the $100,000 we're talking about. My brand exists beyond my YouTube channel. Okay, my brand exists beyond my YouTube channel. You're gonna see some of what I charge for brand deals here in my media kit very shortly. But you've already seen that right now I'm doing over $6,000 a month in AdSense. Right now, or rather the YouTube partner program, because it's more than AdSense. It's YouTube super chats, AdSense, memberships, etc. It's like, so we already know that I'm doing over $6,000 a month in YouTube partner revenue. We already know that I'm doing $5,000 plus a month on the TubeBuddy affiliate program as one of my affiliate programs, and we know I have like a ton of affiliate programs, right? We already know that. We already know that there are 2 sponsors sponsoring this current live stream. So in terms of speculation of my legitimacy or my income, that's not important because we're here to help you, but it's really not that far-fetched to say, oh, gee, this guy might know what he's talking about, or this guy's making X amount of money. So if people are questioning that, literally I covered it in the first 10 minutes, and if you're reading the chat, now you see why I had to cover it in the first 10 minutes. But I digress. There is more than one way to make money on YouTube. So we talked about the fact that you can make money from YouTube AdSense, but hey, you can make money on your YouTube content, repurposing it to Facebook right now by just uploading it, not putting a link to YouTube, uploading to Facebook. And if you meet the qualifications, you would get ad revenue from Facebook. Now, there are other platforms out there. I wouldn't sign any exclusivity deals personally. I wouldn't sign any exclusivity deals. You might have to for Twitch if you become a Twitch affiliate and a Twitch partner as a streamer, to where that content is exclusive to Twitch for 24 hours, but then you should move after 24 hours or 48 hours, you should do clips and you should put those on YouTube and start to earn the AdSense revenue from YouTube. But I would also be posting to Facebook after the fact and just get ad revenue from there if you're capable of doing that. So there is that. So I would go to other platforms that allow you to monetize. You could also potentially, I think you should make original content for TikTok, but if you want to try the repurposing aspect of some of your content there, there's a way to do it. It might be doing it similar to some of the stuff Gary Vee does with the vertical format of a minute or 30-second snippet. So that could be valuable, and you could be monetized in TikTok as well. Again, I just don't believe in signing exclusivity deals. So I want to warn you about that. I also don't recommend joining MCNs, multi-channel networks. I don't recommend them. There are rare exceptions where they might be able to help you with copyright. I think you can solve a lot of your copyright issues on your own. Devin Stone from Legal Eagle has a copyright course that could help you. So I just think that there are a lot of ways to approach this. And I think one of the smartest things you could do is be non-exclusive and start to think platform agnostic, which is why I wanted to title this How to Be a Full-Time Content Creator. I just knew that less of you would click on it if I don't put YouTuber in the title. So I have to hedge there. All right. But this is about being a full-time content creator. YouTube is a means to an end. YouTube is a tool. YouTube is a vehicle. You shouldn't think of it as a destination. You shouldn't think of it as a goal. You should think of it as a tool to get the things that you want to provide for you, your family, and you should think of it as a career opportunity. You shouldn't think of YouTube as your employer, because it's not. You're an independent contractor, so that makes you self-employed. So how do you scale self-employment to being an entrepreneur? Well, we're going to talk about that. So, let's talk about the pathway, to being a full-time content creator. Let's talk about the pathway. If you have a day job, and we really look at the, the whole thing I was showing you in terms of, income and salary and taxes and things like that. If you have a day job, your day job is probably taking care of your healthcare benefits. Your day job is probably taking care of some of your taxable revenue. The day job is also putting away money potentially for your 401k retirement, and it might even be matching you on that, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to say there's not value to a day job. Here's the problem. You can also lose that day job because of things like the virus. You can lose that day job because of inner office politics. You can lose that day job for any number of reasons. So what we want to do is we want to transition to being less reliant on anything, whether it's an employer or a platform. So we want to diversify. My advice is to side hustle YouTube, mostly on the weekends. If you're single, you can do nights and weekends. If you have a family, it might be better to, and I'm not giving you family advice, I'm just saying that I've talked to people and clients about this. It might be better Monday through Friday to work your day job, come home, and then spend all of your energy and all of your time with your family at the expense of not doing any personal hobbies and doing Netflix, and do 100% work and family time Monday through Friday, but then carve back most of the weekend for the hustle and make that bargain with your family that you're going to spend some family time on the weekend, but the majority of it is going to be that you're going to give to your business, so that one day you're not choosing at all. You're not compromising at all. And again, let's just take it with a grain of salt. What I will tell you is if you're single, then your weekends, even if you sleep 8 hours or 10 hours on the weekend, you'd still have over 30 hours on the weekend between both of those days for your hustle, your side hustle, whether that's YouTube or a combination of YouTube and then anything else you could do in gig work, freelance, gig work with Uber, DoorDash, whatever, to make extra money. And the goal in my mind, because remember I showed you these, this stuff in terms of like how much money you might have to make. And the goal here is not to say, oh, I'm going to quit my day job and then do YouTube full time and have one income source. The goal is to first use multiple income streams, AKA your side hustle and your YouTube channel, to add money to your coffers besides your day job. And then eventually, if it starts to add up to where it could go full time in theory, if you had more time, I do not believe in initially quitting the day job to do something like YouTube. I would say reduce yourself to part-time hours or negotiate in a position to where you leave the day job to get a higher paying day job, because now you don't stress about money as much because you have money saved. You have 2 new income streams potentially, and then you can say you have leverage. So now if your employer won't give you a raise, you could theoretically quit and go to a job that gives you a better raise, a better work-life balance, allows you to do remote work or allows you to do flex time, because now you have money to bargain for time. Or you could go to a different position, go to reduce hours or do part-time work so that you still have a steady income, healthcare benefits, some tax offsets, and some of those things. And yes, it's going to be work, but it's a season of hustle to avoid a lifetime of hardship. Okay, it's a season of hustle. Now, if you've been laid off and you're unemployed and you're thinking, now's my time to crush it, now's my time to go YouTube full time, my time to go Twitch full time, to go TikTok full time, I would tell you that what you're better off doing is this. I would do YouTube or Twitch or TikTok or all of them if you got laid off, but I would also immediately pick up gig work or freelance work. So I'd either do Fiverr, DoorDash, Uber, Postmates, or all of them, and work when I can and make money where I can, because the issue you will have is a cash flow issue. It'd be a cash flow issue. So that's the thing. So what I like to do is I look at cash flow. When it comes down to everything, is I look at how do we get cash flow, because the problem with, say, YouTube or Twitch or TikTok is that it's going to pay you once a month. You went from getting a paycheck twice a week and spreading out your income to once a month. But if you do gig work, you can make money any day you want. You can make money any day you want. You can make money every day, every week, whatever. And then we're also adding multiple paychecks. So remember I showed you guys my affiliate dashboard? So think about that. This is one affiliate program. There are about maybe 8 or 10 solid affiliate programs that pay me a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 every month. And then I have YouTube ad revenue. So on top of, so that means I have multiple paydays, you guys. Every website and platform, and by the way, with Kajabi, with my e-commerce digital business around my coaching business, right? AwesomeCreatorAcademy.com. Like, because I have PayPal and Stripe, I make money pretty much every day. I mean, I literally make money every day. So that's cash flow. So I believe in a cash flow centric mindset to creative entrepreneurship, or being a full-time content creator, or being part of the creator economy. So here's the thing. If you work a 9-to-5 day job or a day job, you're probably getting paid either every 2 weeks or every week, but you're getting paid from one income source. That makes you vulnerable because, again, inter-office politics, can get you, you could get in a situation where you get laid off or fired because either the economy can tank, your boss can drive the company to the ground, or inter-office politics with your manager or supervisor, whatever. So you're vulnerable on that. Okay. If you're on YouTube only and you're only doing YouTube AdSense and YouTube brand deals, you're vulnerable to many different things. You're vulnerable to demonetization, deplatforming, any number of problems there. Brand deals can go high or dry because of things like the virus. So you're too vulnerable there. That's why I believe in diversifying and building the multiple streams of income in different categories. So for a lot of you, you should have some kind of e-commerce play. You guys might notice while I'm live streaming that there's a merch shelf down here for YouTube for you guys to buy merchandise. You can use Spreadshop, Teespring, Redbubble, any number of places do print on demand. And it's $0 cost up front. For many of you, this will be your first foray into e-commerce. For other people, you could do like Peter McKinnon and you could sell Lutz packs. You could do, Peter McKinnon has Selfie, or is it Selfie, however you want to pronounce it. And so do great other content creators. There's so many of them that do this with regard to their assets, their Lutz packs, their templates, their sounds, their presets, and everything like that. So again, $30, $25, $15. So think about it. Instead of thinking, oh gee, I'm going to get a penny per view on YouTube AdSense, or a tenth of a penny per view on YouTube AdSense, you literally could be making dollars instead of fractions of a penny from the handful of people that want to buy. You want a $30 CPM? Think about it. If you sell a $30 product, then out of 1,000 people, surely one person will buy. That's how you get real money, and that's how you have a direct-to-consumer business. That's how you get a direct-to-consumer business. Then you don't have to worry about, gee, how do I increase my CPM or RPM as a gaming channel? Short answer is you can't. Your CPM and RPM, if you're a gaming channel, the only way you can increase it, your RPM and CPM as a gaming channel, is put more ads in your videos, which would alienate your audience. If you're cursing, you might have to stop cursing, which will alienate your audience. So if you think that the answer is that you're going to get YouTube to start paying you more in AdSense revenue, I'm sorry, but I'm going to kill that dream dead right now. I'm going to kill that dream. You are not going to get YouTube to pay you more money on your gaming channel. That's not going to happen. So what can you do? Well, not for gaming channels specifically. You guys can't probably sell stuff like this, but you'll have to diversify. You will have to think about how you're going to build different revenue streams. So a great question in the chat is, how many streams of income do you recommend? It's not about how many, because that could change over a period of time. It's not necessarily about how many, but it is about the categories. And so the thing is, I want you to think about, do you have an e-commerce income stream? Okay. Do you have an e-commerce income stream? I'm writing on my white desk right now. Do you have an e-commerce income stream? Is there something that your audience can buy from you? It does not have to be a digital product like Peter McKinnon does. It could be merchandise. It could be print on demand products. So it is not just about clothing, hats, and sweaters. It could also be artwork. It could be posters, okay? It could be posters. There is some stuff now also with NFTs and crypto assets in terms of digital art, but that's a whole nother thing and deserves its own video, and it's very new. But you need an e-commerce play. You need a, how does my audience support me directly? Some of you, this will be Writing a book. Some of you, this will be writing a book, whether it's a print book or an ebook. My friend Tim Schmoyer started out with some of this. For some of you, it will be merchandise in the form of t-shirts and hoodies. If you go t-shirts and hoodies, I don't think you need to slap your face or logo on it. I think you need to make something so dope that people who don't know you would still buy it. I think that's the answer. So think more like an e-commerce clothing line than merchandise for your own brand. Think of a clothing line that anybody would want to buy. So think in that way. So that's an e-commerce play. So you have e-commerce, royalties. Your YouTube income is being taxed now as royalty income, which just counts as ordinary income unless you live outside of the US. Now, I'm not an accountant and I'm not a CPA, so I won't go heavily into that. I'll just tell you some things about what I look at when it comes to taxes. And again, if you're only doing YouTube for fun, this doesn't apply to you until you're making money. So, I mean, if you're doing YouTube for fun, I appreciate you supporting the stream, but this isn't really geared toward you. None of this conversation is geared toward you. And again, this is about being a full-time content creator. I'm saying YouTuber because you guys care about YouTube. I think about being a full-time content creator. I think about whether this applies to you, whether you're doing YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, anything that comes along in the next 5 years, Spotify. It doesn't matter what platform. We're supposed to try to become platform independent and platform agnostic, and that's why we need to think like business owners, and that's why we need our own product and our own thing. So that's why we have to have a e-commerce income stream. So my question becomes, do you have an e-commerce income stream? Let me know in the chat. Do you have an e-commerce income stream? And what is it? Is it print on demand? Is it digital? What is your e-commerce income stream? Leave that in the live chat or even in the replay. Okay, so what's your e-commerce play? Royalty income. Royalty income can be YouTube AdSense. Royalty income could be Twitch income. Royalty income could be Facebook ads. Royalty income could also be Spotify plays if you're a music channel. I now have the Zenbuster music channel. If you guys did not know, I have yet another YouTube channel, and we're getting close to that being monetized. But in addition to getting close to that being monetized, because of your support, it also is a music brand. It's also a music brand because we also are on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, all of it. And so if you want to check this out, by the way, you go to youtube.com/Zenbuster. And so that would help us if you guys subscribe to that and listen to some cool music. This is all original music that I had a music producer do for me, Frost FM, who is a great YouTube music creator. And so what we did was we have this channel and we have the original music and we have the rights to it. So we're doing a royalty split model on it. But the thing is, we will make royalty income on these tracks on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Tidal, all of it. Okay. So I decided to split into another royalty income stream. I also make royalty income from a course on video marketing that I licensed to LinkedIn a while back. I licensed a course to LinkedIn, and I make about $4,000 or $5,000 a year still off of that course that I licensed to LinkedIn back in 2018. Okay, so royalty income. Some of you are vloggers and travel content creators. A lot of you could be licensing your content to all the stock photo and all the stock video websites because you have gold sitting in your hard drive. You have time lapses. You have time lapses, you have slow-mo, you have sunsets, you have photos that you've taken from all these wonderful exotic places if you're a travel content creator, or maybe you've done it while you've been traveling on your own, and you could be making royalty income from all of that. You could be making royalty income from all of that. So what is your e-commerce income stream? What are your royalty income streams? If you write a book, you're making money from royalties if you write a book. Some of you could also do voice acting and get royalties from someone else's book in perpetuity. Okay. And then what's your affiliate income streams? I have multiple affiliate income streams, guys, not just Amazon and not just TubeBuddy. You know, we talked about this. TubeBuddy over the last, how many years? Over the last 5 years, I've done almost $300,000 lifetime with TubeBuddy. So over $250,000 over the last 5 years. Wasn't overnight, and I'm doing about $5,000 a month right now. So there's that, and there's proof of income for you right there. So the thing is, what's an affiliate strategy for you, and how many affiliates do you have? I have TubeBuddy, I have Kajabi, I have Epidemic Sound, I have Amazon. Now there's different types of affiliate. There's recurring affiliate like TubeBuddy, so I get paid from that every month. There's Kajabi. I think I make about 1,000 or 1,200 every month from that. So think about it. With those two affiliates, that's $6,000+ in guaranteed income every single month, which means even without YouTube AdSense, that's still about $72,000 a year. So that's really good. That's not bad. You can live off of that. Okay. Without YouTube ads, I can live off of the affiliate from those recurring, reliable income streams. But then you have one-offs, like whenever someone buys something with an Amazon link. That's a small percentage. You have individual things like Bluehost on the web hosting side. Another recurring one is ConvertKit on the email list side. But then you have other things like Epidemic Sound. Those are one-time payments. So the thing is, you could have 5 or 6 different affiliate income streams if they make sense. Someone asked about how do you do affiliate with YouTube gaming? Well, you could do something like kit.co, and you could put together builds for gamers in terms of, you could put together a build list for their PCs. So for example, I have, this takes to my Amazon, but also to my BH Photo Video, but I have kit.co/Roberto Blake. So for camera gears and for builds and setups and video editing, I have all these different things where I list all of my hardware. All right, so I have this for Sony lenses, and I've done write-ups on all the different Sony lenses in my setup. All right. So I have things like this. If you're a gamer, you would do something like I did for my streaming build or for my video editing build. You would sit here and you would, as a gamer, put together different gaming rigs, and you would make Amazon money from the affiliate from that. There might be other things as a gamer. If you're a Twitch streamer and not just a gamer, and if you talk a little bit about streaming on your thing like Harris Heller does, then you have more affiliate opportunities. But just as a gamer, you could be recommending hardware as a gamer, and you'd make some affiliate money. It depends. It may not feel like a lot. It may not be nearly what I make from TubeBuddy, but it'd be something. Okay, so there's options. But I'm not getting into the specific economics of gaming. You know, I would probably bring a gamer on that's full time that could do that. So that's something to think about. Is what do you have that is an e-commerce business model for your, you know, being a full-time content? What's the e-commerce thing? What do you sell directly to your audience? What's the royalty play? How does your own ideas, your intellectual property, your artwork, your creativity earn you money and passive income through royalties? And royalties can be inherited by your children, your spouse, your significant other, whoever your beneficiary is. Royalty income passes on. So what do you have in royalty income? E-commerce, something that if people keep buying it, that you don't have to be the face of it. Think about that for long term. So you have a real business that can be passed on to people. Someone can have that business if, you know, you pass away. What is the affiliate income? What is the affiliate income from working with different affiliate platforms, whether it's Amazon or whatever else? Okay. And then we have other things we can talk about. We have brand deals, okay? A lot of you, I've done videos on brand deals that none of you watched. I'm gonna probably just make a playlist for that, and I'm gonna make some more videos. I have like 10 video ideas for brand deals. But a lot of you don't know what to charge. You don't have media kits. You don't have any of those things. Someone asked if the songs are copyright free. The songs are copyright free on Zenbuster Music. So if you go to youtube.com/Zenbuster Music. It's copyright free music. So yes, there's so many opportunities. There's so many opportunities when it comes to how you can make money here. And so my actual answer to many of you is, in terms of your diversity, let's look at beyond YouTube AdSense, because, okay, there's a lot that can go wrong there, but let's look as a content creator how we branch out. And even if it could seem overwhelming to do multiple platforms, but let's think about where it's appropriate to repurpose some of those things and how you can, do that. All right. So there's that. How do you sell directly to your audience? Look, some of you are scared to sell directly to your audience and you don't want to look like a sellout or feel like that or something like that. Look, just make things of quality, whether you're doing digital products, online courses, merchandise, print on demand, whatever you're making, just make it the best that you can make it and charge what you think you want to charge for it. And people will say yes or people will say no. And it's okay if 99% of your audience says no. All you're trying to do is get to a place to where you have 1,000 real hardcore true fans, the 1,000 true fans theory. I forget who came up with that originally, but I heard it from Pat Flynn, a good friend of mine. You should definitely read his book, Superfans. But when you have 1,000 true fans, one way or another, that support what you're doing financially, if you create $100 in value for 1,000 true fans at any point in time, that's how you get to $100,000. So if you're a content creator, it's absolutely attainable to get 1,000 people that love and support what you're doing and will put their money behind it. And closed mouths don't get fed. You have to tell people that you need their support, that you want their support, and you have to provide them some kind of substantial value for that. There are people who are doing that right now in the super chat. Thank you, Zeta, for the $5 euro. Thank you. You helped me get monetized on YouTube first, and there are big differences from a personal account to a brand account for monetization. I would say, Zeta, that no one needs to switch to a brand account. Those are often for companies, but they've given those features to other people. Don't switch to a brand account. It can actually mess up your channel, so don't switch to a brand account. It's not like Instagram, so don't do it. But yeah, I mean, I would say that a lot of you need to really think about your expansion strategy in both diversification of income, diversification of platforms, and then also owning your income and owning your platforms. Because again, if you don't sell something, then you're still at the mercy of a platform. Now, you could be using the platform for traffic for that, and that's fine. YouTube's my main traffic source right now, but it's not my only one. I have an Instagram for a reason. I do post stuff up there. I have Facebook for a reason, and not just for my private Facebook group. I have these different things in place because you should always look to how you can have ownership of every aspect of your brand and every aspect of your business. And I desperately want more of you to do that and not be beholden to YouTube as a platform or be beholden to the brands. I want you to be independent, and that's going to mean diversifying in as many ways as you can. I just don't want you to also get overwhelmed. You don't have to do all of this at once. I certainly didn't do all of this at once. And someone who can speak to the power of diversifying, someone who can speak to the long game, the marathon that is YouTube, is my good friend, Benji Travis, co-author of YouTube Secrets. Welcome, Benji, to the show.
What's Benji going on? I got my little baby here. I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind, but your audio is not coming through your mic, Benji. You might want to adjust for that.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
No, nothing?
No, it's coming through, but it's not through your mic. It's super echoey, so I think it's coming through your webcam. Yeah. So Benji's going to get that set up in the meantime. But I mean, again, I just want to tell you guys, first of all, I'm sorry if I'm not getting to all the super chats because I'm trying to give you guys the most value possible here. But I do appreciate you. I appreciate you, Ben's Gaming Life, for the super chats. DIY Scholar Homestead, thank you for helping all of us. I still need weekly tips. Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot here, but I want you guys to really think about the YouTube AdSense revenue thing and think of it as a starting point or extra. I don't like the idea of replacing your full-time income with something as unreliable as that. And I'd like for you guys to just diversify a little bit more, because in order to go to a full-time content creator, and I know that a lot of people say, hey, Roberto, I took the leap with AdSense, so I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't do that. You keep trashing AdSense. I am scared for people who rely on AdSense because I've seen it go horribly wrong. I've seen people be demonetized. I've seen people lose their channel. I've seen people go through the adpocalypse. I've seen people have their AdSense account hacked. So I always worry about a lot of these things, and it could sound like I'm being paranoid, but I'm just really trying to look out for people and say that if you're not relying on one thing to keep you alive, you'll feel a lot less anxiety long term. And so I'm just really trying to be as transparent about that as possible. Let's see if Benji's audio issues are over. And Benji, that's perfect. Sharp audio. Love you.
Hey, everybody. So glad to be here. Honored, Roberto, that you invited me. Appreciate the shout out to, of course, YouTube Secrets. But, I'm here as a learner, just like you. I love listening to what you are thinking. Literally, I'm sure you've seen me a few times at events. I literally just lurk. I just lurk around you when you're chatting with your viewers. People are looking to learn from you. And I think this is such a great topic because going full time doesn't have to be like 2 or 3 years down the road. It could probably be sooner. And there's one thing, by the way, learning a lot myself, but also I agree with you on basically everything. One thing you didn't mention, I think that everybody can learn from is number one way to get closer to going full time is just lower your expenses. One reason why people are holding on to paychecks and careers or even a business is because they've got some bills they got to pay. Sometimes the bills aren't even necessary. We're talking everything from Netflix to subscriptions. By the way, all you really need to do, and if you've got a family, obviously there are certain bills that come along with it. But especially if you're single, all you got to do is have a roof over your head, pay for the utilities, have food in your belly, clean water, hopefully, and just be paying for the minimal expenses of life. And the number one
if you eliminate the wants, that gets super easy.
Exactly. And I love that you're so transparent with your numbers because I think people, need to have that inspiration and they have to understand different sources of income. But one of the things I would suggest in addition to lowering your expenses is literally focusing on 1 or 2 monetization strategies. So most people, they want to do everything at the very beginning. Remember, Roberto Blake did not start off as this guy making this kind of bank. He started off growing his influence first. That's what you really need to do. You need to put out content, build an influence, and then once you have that influence, you'll have options. But don't grab everything shiny around you. Focus on the 1 or 2 things that make sense for your niche and your content. So glad to be here, Roberto. Would love to. I don't know how long this girl's going to let me sit here with you. But
we'll take as much time as she allows you.
So yeah, those are my 2 thoughts. I thought, but of course, I think this is practical too for everyone because, Shauna and we started video influencers to help you build your influence, income, and impact. I think making money right from the get-go is important. Even if, is that true? You don't want to be premature with some of your monetization strategies, but you definitely want to be thinking about them right from the get-go.
I agree 100%. And for me, the thing is, I think that some monetization strategies or income streams are easier to not easier, I would say faster in terms of momentum and also cash flowing. Because remember what I said, I like the idea of taking your same content creator skills and having a side hustle that can pay you, that you can make money delivering on that. So I went with the freelance model. That's what I did. I was freelancing. I wasn't selling a product. I wasn't doing anything. I was selling my skills, but selling them outside of the 9 to 5, because that's how actually I became self-employed. I went from 9 to 5, not to YouTube content creator, but to self-employed. And for me, my next income source after self-employed through freelancing was affiliate. Just like Sean, I benefited from the Amazon affiliate program and tech reviews and things of that nature. I was doing maybe, I want to say $1,200, $1,500 a month, Benji, fairly early with that, because I already had built up some of my YouTube channel and my content to be able to facilitate that. To your point, I built my influence, and then the income came later from that with affiliate, to where I lived in North Carolina at the time. You can get by really well in North Carolina, making $1,200 a month as an affiliate and living hand to mouth as a freelancer, and then start to actually get really comfortable. And that YouTube AdSense, which wasn't a lot for me at the time, it's like maybe $300 a month, which you can't live off of when you're a new YouTuber or anybody. That was able to go back into my channel.
Yeah. Another thing you brought up is depending on your location. Second to lowering your expenses, sometimes you just live in an area that is too expensive. This is the number one killer of motivation and inspiration is when you're trying to save up for a house or, provide a certain level of living standard for your family, but you live in LA or Hollywood, or the Bay Area. I know Atlanta is a lot better. I've been down there. I know what the houses cost over there. That might make the difference between being full-time right now versus like 2 or 3 years later. I still live in the same neighborhood that me and Sean grew up in, like the same area since like 30 years ago. And so when I went to go build my house, it cost me $270,000 to build. Basically my dream house. It's not like a mansion. So comparing it to some of my colleagues that do what we do as family vloggers even, or just vloggers in general that live in LA, and they went there to seek opportunity, not realizing the fact that they were actually getting into higher debts because the housing costs. Obviously you can rent, but a lot of them wanted that booyah mansion. And I'm not saying my way is the only way, but I'd say this: I've never lost sleep because I had a bill I had to pay, so I never felt the pressure to take on a brand deal for the sake of making money.
I think that's super important, Benji, and it actually brings me up to like another part of the income side that I want to talk about was the brand deals, because I am going to cover this on the channel, but that one of the most requested topics in YouTube is how do I get brand deals as a small channel? And the thing is, I'm not trying to gatekeep, but I'm against this for a couple of reasons. I'm going to show people my media kit here in a minute for reference, and then they can see those numbers for themselves. I can't disclose individual brand deal numbers until a brand lets me, or until I bring a brand representative on to say how much money they pay for what. But what I will tell you is as you know, back in the early days of YouTube, we couldn't get brand deals even with like 30,000 subs a lot of the times. Then that's not everybody, but a lot of times that was just harder because the industry was new. But I will say that the reason that I prefer people start thinking about that at maybe 10,000 subscribers, and I don't say that to gatekeep, is I think if you're someone who is capable of 10,000 subscribers, that you now know what you're consistent at, you know what you're good at, you've been able to make that resonate in terms of impact and influence with an audience. And you also probably have a lot more confidence. You probably have a lot more confidence once you hit that number because you've probably just unlocked almost every feature as a YouTuber. So now I feel like you're in the position to really start thinking of this as like you are at the beginnings of like a career that is starting to actually show some results and some fruit, and that you know your audience because you got that 10,000 subscribers. You knew what you were doing. It's not a fluke. No one can tell you otherwise. You've got that. You've got these features. So you have every resource to be a YouTuber now, in terms of the platform features. And you probably understand at least some of your analytics. So you know how to communicate that to a brand. That's why I feel like those are not about gatekeeping. I think it's about qualifiers that put you in a position to negotiate from a place of strength. From a place of strength. Now, I'm not saying you can't do brand deals before that. I've helped people do it before that. But what do you think on that, Benji?
Oh, agree. Like that's totally premature unless a brand's willing to pay you the cost that it costs you and any other business to create quality content that you're providing. This is one thing. The number one reason why most people shouldn't do brand deals, she's going there, is because they're not charging enough. By the way, I believe that even Roberto and myself, and I this is ironic because I come from doing brand deals as a majority of my income, but I do charge a premium rate both on what I do on video influencers as well as a lifestyle vlogger. The reason we charge less is because the market demands it. Too many influencers are underrating their value. So then the rate that they charge
tanking the market.
Exactly. And so you coming into this game, you're competing against not necessarily like people like me and Roberto, but other people at 10 and 20,000 subscribers that are charging less. So it's not worth it for you. I do feel you should have a number one quality audience. That means an audience that's very specific. It's niche. It's around something like a similar interest. And secondly, you should really be an authority within that niche and your space, because that's the number one way to charge more money, is not be a general influencer, is be a specialized influencer. By the way, Sean and I, we were charging the kind of rates that me and Judy had to charge like in our third or fourth year as YouTubers, in our first year on video influencers, because we had a very valuable audience. So it just all depends on where you're at. So we were actually at 10,000, but remember, I was already an influencer, so I had the clout on the social media side. Sean, like obviously is one of the best when it comes to our space. So like different dynamic. But if you're just starting out, in fact, I mean, I don't know what the threshold is, but I'd say for the first year, you really shouldn't do any brand deals, no matter what your subscriber level is, because it takes about that long to understand the market, understand, the brands in your space, and just get good. Let's be honest here. Brand deals can take a lot of your time. I have a whole
That's
team.
my biggest issue. That's
exactly.
my biggest issue.
I have a whole team that helps manage it, right? And, me and Roberto go back about this, but I've got a brand manager, I've got an assistant, I've got an attorney, all to make it. And this is why we're able to charge more money, because we're very professional about this. But if you're coming into this and it's already a full-time effort trying to create content, engage with their audience, fit in a brand deal where you have to talk about deliverables in certain terms, read your own contracts, it can be a nightmare really quick. And take it from somebody who was in this before influencer marketing was a thing and didn't have the kind of leverage that our industry had yet. So I'd say this, Roberto, you already shared a whole bunch of very lucrative ways to make money that you can start implementing almost right away. You can sell a product literally from day one. If you know more than somebody else, you can coach them. If you've got a book like this, you could put up on Amazon and potentially be making money from it from day one. Really,
day zero. Yeah,
exactly. So brand deals, I think, are very lucrative, but you have to know when the time is right, and you have to make sure you charge enough money.
So let me bring that up, actually. Let me tell you about day zero monetization. Let's talk about that if you are a small channel, small influencer, whatever you want to call yourself. Let's talk about day zero income. Day zero income is any affiliate link, including Amazon, but also anything else that's a valid affiliate link. Okay. Day zero income is your own intellectual property. So your beats, your music, your books, anything like that. Any product that you have. Day zero income, if you come from an educator background or a professional background, you're a photographer, whatever, you can teach something. Like Jared Polin with Fro Knows Photo. One of the best photography products I ever bought was his course on flash photography. Best purchase I think I ever made in the photography space aside from gear, okay? So you can do that. Tim Schmoyer sold his ebook for $30 from day zero. That's valid to do if you've proven your experience. So I'm not against courses or selling anything or selling your knowledge. I'm not one of those people. And again, I don't sell a $500 course yet, but I'm not against it. I don't care if you sell one. As long as you're delivering value and people are happy with it and you have a good refund policy, like God bless, peace and love. I don't care. I just want you to do business right by your people, and I don't care what you do. I have no ideology about it. I love it. I want you as a creator making your money. I'm happy for you. The other thing, day zero, that you can do besides that, print on demand. Make a cool t-shirt that people want to wear. Like something cool, positivity, whatever, something people would buy even if they don't know you. So day zero income, you can do print on demand, you can do affiliate, you can sell a physical or a digital product, you can sell Let's Packs like Peter McKinnon, you can sell your music, your sound effects, your beats, your books. You have so many opportunities, not beholden to YouTube and not beholden to the brands. You can do it yourself, and that's great. You could also sell your services. You could be in the business of letting it get to the point to where you are monetized on YouTube. You know what my favorite thing is, Benji? YouTube pays me to advertise and market my business instead of me paying Google to for the ads, which I also do. But
by the way, and one thing I did, it's not necessarily that I disagree with you, but I've been listening since the beginning of this stream, by the way. But you mentioned one thing: I don't rely on the AdSense. One thing about AdSense that is nice, that actually differentiates YouTube as a platform from every other social media platform, that it's there. that it's very democratic. It's based off of your content and the audience. And so the audience is kind of voting with their views to support you, even if they agree or don't agree with it, right?
Yeah,
and so
it's meritocracy.
And so take it seriously, because know this. I know influencers who literally make like over 100 grand a month from AdSense. Of course, they're doing a lot of views, or in your case, I don't know if you're making 100 grand a month, but I know that this, like, depending on your CPA, the point
But if I was getting Graham Stephan's views, I would be.
But the point I'm trying to make is this. It is there. It's a nice little cushion. It is, for example, if I wanted to, I could quit all my other monetization strategies, fall back on that, because, by the way, going back to my first point, low expenses. I don't have a crazy like Lamborghini. I didn't go out and buy a huge mansion. You know, my kids, they're already spoiled enough with all the free products that they get sent, so they're not getting all this fancy stuff. Luckily, Judy's not into jewelry. So the point I'm trying to make is this: having that option is really important, but AdSense can be a powerful little insurance policy, right?
I agree with that 1,000%.
Exactly. And so the reason I bring it up is this is why I go back to, no matter what type of channel you have, try to create evergreen content. Try to create videos periodically. Like, you know, for me and Judy, it's very hard as a vlog channel because it's based off our personality and it's like really in the now. But I'd say this: we have some videos that are evergreen. On my food channel, I'm always creating income. Obviously, me and Sean are video influencers. So I think it's something that, again, no other platform has. And of course, look, Roberto's even bringing up some videos that have made him money year after year after year. And then as he uploads more content, this is the power of YouTube, everybody, that no one really actually understands. Because of course, I think Roberto's advice is very good. Don't just 100% rely on it the same way as brand deals, and you want to diversify. But no platform offers this kind of consistent AdSense income the way YouTube does. And this is why TikTokers are aspiring to be YouTubers. I think it purely has to do with the monetary, ability.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, Benji, I'm making like tens or even hundreds of dollars sometimes off of things from like over a year ago or several months ago, etc. There's literally content here. Like, this was November of last year, and like, okay, apparently for months I've been making almost $100 on this for months after the fact, and it didn't even need a ton of views. Look at that. I made almost $100 off of 5,000 views in the last 27 days, Benji. Like, and I'm not saying that to brag, I'm making a point. Look at this video that made me $62. I published it in 2015. 2015, still making me money. This is the power of an evergreen library and that strategy. Now, again, it won't work for everybody because, like you said, it won't necessarily work for vloggers sometimes, but it could if you, from a lifestyle standpoint, if the content is entertaining enough. Entertainment channels can do this. I don't want people to get twisted. Mr. Beast content, for example, is evergreen entertainment. There's ways to approach that. You could watch a Mr. Beast video anytime and enjoy it. So I just want people to kind of understand what we're saying, and I agree with you 1,000%. I have a question for you about the brand deal side, because we have a rare opportunity with you here, because you're someone who's like, you know, really seen it all, done it all. You've been in the space. You're a veteran, Benji, like, and you're a champ, and you're still even doing this stream with like baby on board. And I'm going to get to, because I want to tease this, I'm going to get to stuff from my 2019 media kit and even show you guys pricing on some of my brand deal stuff. But I want to ask if you're comfortable with this. If you're not, it's okay, but you can just give a range. But back in the day, back in the day, when like you and Judy and you guys were like taking those first brand deals on, like, can you tell us what brands wanted back then from you guys and how much they were willing to pay and some of the information around that? Because I think it'd be super helpful if you could, because there's just so little real information about it. And then I'm going to go into some of my numbers. But
for sure, you know, when we first started, I so famously talk about in my like presentations when I speak, I negotiated a deal from 50 to $100, and I thought I was the man, right? And so that's like 2008, 2009. We're talking 500,000, maybe a few thousand tops. And so fast forward a decade later, I can tell you this: like, I don't even want Judy to lift a finger unless it starts at 5 figures at least. By the way, that's not even on YouTube. That's just on social media. And so we look for, this is why being a premium influencer, that might sound a little pretentious, but there's a reason for it. I'd rather do less deals, Roberto, that pay high dollar than do a ton of deals that pay low dollar, because to wrap your brain around one deal, negotiate one contract, and then do all the deliverables is already hard enough. And I'm about at that threshold with her, okay? But I can tell you this, we've been able to create a 7-figure influencer business. A majority is from sponsorships, right? And working with brand deals because of this standard that we have. We'd rather work with less, even if ultimately at the end of the year we make less, but we're doing less brand deals. When I hear of influencers touting, we work with hundreds of brands every year, I'm like, my Lord, like Judy and I
no, that's too much.
Yeah, Judy and I probably, if I had to off the top of my head, not even like 50 a year, not even like maybe 40. And so realize that sometimes they're reoccurring. So it might even be less than that. So being a premium influencer is worth it. If you're kind of like the quantity person, if you're kind of like the budget influencer, burnout. That's all I have to say.
For real. Benji, I have something I want to run by you, because this isn't even in my current media kit, or rather in my 2019, my old media kit, but like I came up with a thesis that I've been teaching influencers for maybe 2 or 3 years, to where I work in a way that might be similar to, and I teach this in my, with my one-on-one coaching clients through Awesome Creator Academy. I teach this to the people in my membership program, but I'm going to tease you guys with a bit of the concept here. So I believe in setting your own rates for a, what I call a gold level sponsor, a silver level sponsor, and a bronze level sponsor. And bronze level could be one-offs, which means that that's not always about price. It's about commitment. Gold, in my mind, is recurring. And in my standard for that is the 5 figures that you talked about, but it's a recurring relationship, could be 6 months, could be a year. And in my mind, what I like is the idea of getting a high 5-figure relationship with like 3 brands, because I'm also committing to a volume of content with them in that relationship. Because if I have 3 gold sponsors at high 5 figures, then I'm going to make 6 figures off of 2 brand relationships. Obviously, I'm going to make that off of 3. And so I like that. And then at silver, it could be shorter term recurring relationships. They're still lower 5 figures. And then individual one-off relationships that can be either low 5 figures or high 4 figures at my bronze level. And I'd rather do less for, and across social media and stuff like that, less of the bronze, but there's flexibility there at least. But I'd rather concentrate on gold and silver level relationships and do fewer of those. And because it's going to take too many bronze relationships to add up to 1 silver or gold. So that's kind of my tiering structure. I'd love your thoughts on something like that.
Yeah, well, first off, the fact that you're thinking like that, right? That there's different levels of commitment, that there's different values to consider. There's so many variables. It would make your head spin if you knew all the variables that any influencers really have to consider. And if you're not considering it, that's when I'm saying you're probably not charging enough, because I find so many influencers. And if you're somebody here that's looking to work with brands or is working with brands right now, you should charge. Like, I don't walk into a 7-Eleven and grab a Cheetos and then get to, by the way, I love Flamin' Hot Cheetos, and go to the counter, right? And then as I'm checking, I'll go, I'm kind of thirsty. I'm going to grab this little water out of this cooler. Can you include this in the price of the Cheetos? Oh, and by the way, I want some gum later too. And I want the everlasting gum that I can own forever. Here, can you just add this? The bag's 99 cents, right? And so the reason I bring this up is people are getting asked to do so many things, but they're not getting charged to do it, right? So the brands are getting everything on a silver plate. The one thing, number one, I agree that you have different offerings. The other thing to consider is this, and this is going back to my philosophy and and she just fell asleep, by the way, so she's good for a little bit more. But I'd say this, I'd rather work with one brand partner for a 6-figure deal in a year versus working with even 3 to 5 brand partners for like $120,000. Does that make sense? How ultimately
it makes a ton of sense.
I'm making less money, but remember, everybody, that's one contract I'm probably negotiating. That's one initial communication meeting and going through all the terms. That is one line of communication in terms of like one rep. And then you also don't have to relearn that brand and the call to actions and the deliverables. Like, you're very comfortable. So
you don't have to re-sign NDAs. You don't have to re-sign W-9s and because I agree with you 1,000%. Because the other problem that people don't think about, and I'm going to teach this in the Harsh Advice for Small Influencers brand deals video that I'm working on this week, is that when you take a brand deal, it's taking time away from you that you literally could have used to produce 3 videos to just your audience to promote yourself.
Let me interject there. That is the point I'm making, because ultimately the most valuable thing you have isn't the fact that you spend less bandwidth or time on that brand. It's the fact that you have more time to create content, even if it's not sponsored. Maybe you're monetizing through ads or some kind of other product. But at the end of the day, Roberto, the thing that makes us influencers is our influence. And the reason people even subscribe to our channels is because we had a video that was valuable enough for them to hit that subscribe button. And you and I both know these days, they're not even subscribing to the channel. They just look at you as an authority, or they can recognize your face because they know who you are. Or third, your video just pops up. And if you want that evergreen type of content that just pops up in front of people, and they might only watch you like a handful of time and maybe never know your name, Roberto, or never subscribe to my channel, guess what? That takes time to create that type of content. And so time is the number one thing any influencer and even beginner creator should be pursuing. And this is why I say no to more deals and we say yes.
Yes.
Ultimately, I'm all about the best brands aligned with my audience and vibe with me, like the products I really love. And lastly, diversify. Don't rely on the brand deals, because say you had to take a break for your mental health. And I'm not a big fan of talking about mental health because there's different levels of it. But let's just be for reals. If you have to take a break and you're relying on brand deals to pay the bills, going back to my whole point of lowering your expenses, that's a hard life to be living in.
I'll use myself as an example, just so that if we talk about creator mental health, we're only talking specific to me. During the events of the summer that you and I talked about, and I talked about with you on the show on Video Influencers, I got depressed for obvious reasons with everything that happened over the summer. And then I had to, the compounding of multiple things between everything that was happening in our country and then COVID itself and then all of that and then personal things in my own life, it just all came to a head to where I didn't upload for over a month. And yet the Evergreen content supported the channel. The business that I had, I still showed up for my students in Awesome Creator Academy. And so I fought through that, and I had the support of my team, which I could only afford to pay because I had diversified streams of income to cover them and protect them. So I still had to show up and do my job for my clients and for my students. I didn't ghost my community completely because I was still uploading to community tab. I was still participating in Twitter, but I just needed a break to clear my head from the regular content. And it mattered, but I didn't have to worry about it because I wasn't dependent on the brands and I wasn't dependent on the AdSense. And Benji, I want to ask you something. So even me with my depression, sometimes I have to do those kind of things. But I will ask you something though, because we have this really great comment. And I saw a couple of people talking about IG pay gap and influencer pay gap. I'm not going to speak for everybody. I'm not going to say that there may or may not be pay gaps or discrimination on gender or race or any other variables. But what I've found in coaching creators with all types of backgrounds, whether they're Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, male, female, everything, I've found that the pay gap is more of a knowledge gap and more of a not having the confidence oftentimes to negotiate or to know what you're worth, or the experience or someone to tell you that you're confident enough to do something. Because I'll tell you an anecdote. I'm not going to reveal this person, but I'll tell you an anecdote. There was a smaller content creator, a smaller YouTuber who's a really great friend of mine. She's a tremendous creator, and a brand came to her directly. And I said, and she told me about this deal. I said, before you do anything or say anything, talk to me. Give me 30 minutes of your time. I'm not even going to charge you because we're homies. And I talked to her on the phone and we talked about this situation. She was thinking to say yes to $500 a month because of her channel size and her views. And she was going to ask them if that's okay. She was going to ask for permission for $500 a month for a 6-month commitment of posting one video on her channel, plugging them for 6 months because she had, I think, 15,000 subscribers at the time. I told her based on what that brand was, what I know the value of their product was, what I knew she represented as an ambassador, the effort I know because she produces high quality content, which is why for the short period of time she'd been doing YouTube, she was at that. She's almost at 30,000 now subs. So this has been like less than a year from now. So like she's grown rapidly without realizing how rapid that is for her at the beginning of her career as a content creator. I was like, you're so early in your content career, you are getting a brand coming to you. You didn't even pitch them and they want you to represent the brand and be an ambassador. I was like, ask them for 1,500 and I'm betting you they'll say yes too easily. And at a bare minimum, they're going to negotiate you down to 1,200. You wanted 5. You'll say yes and you'll pretend you're doing them a favor. And she was like, well, they came back and they said yes to 1,500. And I was like,
yeah.
And the thing is,
happens.
And the thing is, that means that for 6 months, she got $9,000 where she was going to settle for $3,000. Let's think about the gap between that. A conversation was the difference between $6,000 in a net outcome for her and what her content represents. And the brand was happy with everything that they got. And this came down to not her would have been being lowballed because of her background or even her subscriber count or anything. It was not knowing how to ascertain her value and being insecure about her numbers. And I'm not saying that discrimination in the industry doesn't happen. I'm saying that sometimes we have to take a step back and look at how we're presenting ourselves and how confident we are to stand up for ourselves in terms of our work and how much value we really bring, because we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge, Benji. We are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
Yeah, I think, by the way, I don't even have to really answer, honestly, because you said it already. 2 things. I honestly don't think, especially now, there's, at least in America, I can only speak for our country. Discrimination is going to hurt your business. Okay, that's gonna and guess what? Word's going to get around. Anything that happened before, even now, in terms of pay gaps, has to do with exactly what you said. Number one, the knowledge gap that you just don't know. Right? You just don't know. That person that Roberto consulted, they just had no idea. And then 2, even if they do understand the rate, they don't have the confidence because most influencers are afraid of losing the deal. Never be afraid to lose a deal or say no and say on to the next one. The last thing I'll say for anybody. So this is the thing. If I got into the YouTube game at 0 subscribers today and say I built up in the next 6 months, 3,000 or 5,000, I'm being generous with myself. I don't know. Right. I could do a deal because I know this. 1, how much would it cost that business to create this equivalent video? If kind of being in the industry as a freelancer, right? Anybody that shoots video, anybody that edits video, anybody that's a YouTube expert and uploads for a company, all those are individual jobs. You as an influencer know how to do all that. You think it's normal, right? It is normal in our world of YouTube, but in corporate America, that video easily could cost thousands of dollars, if not $10,000+. So there's still, even at, by the way, Roberto, I'm not trying to tear down your advice because she got paid extra $6,000. But honestly, that girl was saving them money from how much it would create just to make the content. And then secondly, the influence, if they're going to run ads to reach a specific audience that has a trust with a influencer like that person you suggested, then, by the way, all this is going to start making you realize it doesn't matter who you are, because ultimately what companies want is conversion and sales. They want to get the reach. They want
landing
quality.
Page traffic.
And so if you focus on these things, so when Roberto, by the way, I got to go for sure soon because Judy's probably done with dinner here. But The last thing I want to say is this. One of the reasons why I love listening to Roberto, and I'm sure everybody can understand this, but if you don't, is because there's so much context needed to truly answer a question, right? Like, I think audits of channels are great because you get some surface level tips, thumbnails, titles, all that stuff. But when it comes to money and working with brands, you need to go more in depth. And that's why, like Clubhouse, Roberto and I kind of jump into rooms once in a while. Look for me, Benji Travis, but the honest thing is, if you're going to answer a question about somebody's brand deal or how much they should charge, you have to ask all these questions like, well, how good is your content? What's the quality? Are you using like a top of line gear, the best kind of editing? Have you been doing it for 10 years? Who's your audience? Do you know specifically who you're targeting? And are you like a authority in that space? Third, like what kind of actual like subscribers do you actually have? What are your numbers? What's your average views? And then literally the discussion just starts right there. So ultimately, the best thing I can share with everybody based off of my experience of doing this for 10 plus years and being premium influencers who can charge top dollar. By the way, we've been on deals, campaigns where I have other friends of mine who are on it, and they have literally sometimes 3 to 10 times more influence. We're charging as much as them. Partly, by the way, to be frank, could be because we're minorities, Asian American. So I actually feel I've been saying this to all of the influencers.
You said it to me and you changed my perspective.
Exactly. I said, hey, and this is before 2020, by the way. Okay. So
yes, this was like, we were talking about this 2 years ago.
I said, you have more value because diversification is important already. And how crazy, I should have made a video about this, right? But I just thought it's not really appropriate for me to say, but I've interviewed a lot of creators and I've had a handful of minorities, probably like more than your average interview show, because, I know a lot of minorities, and every single one, especially African-American influencers, right off the bat, I'm like, I don't know what you do when it comes to charging or your rates or whatever, but you are already a premium influencer and I've been saying this since like 2011 in my wife's space, which is beauty. I said, there's not enough influencers in the African-American community. In fact, there's like a surplus of viewers, not enough creators. I don't even know why that was in the very beginning. So all of those people have went on to do million plus subscriber type of channels. They're just killing it in the brand game. They were invited to all the PR events. They got sent all of the packages. They're working with the top brands. And it's not because I told them this. It's because, you know what?
It changed their mindset.
I think so, but also cream rises to the top. If you're a quality influencer, regardless of your race, if you literally are somebody that is on top of it, you're professional. And third, you are somebody that understands this and has experience, you can charge top dollar, even when the market is lower. How many times have you got this, Roberto? It's like, well, this other influencer charges this amount. You know what? These people, this is a day job for them. I remember being on Clubhouse and there was somebody representing the brands that said, Benji, this ain't a day job. We also work 7 days a week. Influencers, we're 24/7. Our name is on a product that's out in the world, even when we're sleeping. So it's something that people need to wrap their brain around in terms of understanding why you can charge these kind of rates, because you're not your typical production studio or some kind of videographer or an editor. You're a living, eating, breathing thing that represents this brand that's got this influence with an audience. And you connect all those, you're superhuman. You are literally superhuman in the advertising world.
That's why I keep talking about the creator economy, and that I believe that content creators and creators in general, people who are artists, people who are musicians, people who are performers, I believe intellectual property is one of the few things that can't be displaced by automation, which is coming. You and I know that. Yeah. We know the great displacement of labor is coming. And the other thing is, the value of so many diverse high income skills rolled into a singular individual who has also built their own brand. And a lot of your leverage is, in fact, what you just said, Benji. And the other thing that I would tell people, and the thing that I'm trying to convince people of, is that, again, I believe that creators of all backgrounds are the new and future professional career class. I think you and I know plenty of people.
Hey, if you guys are getting hyped up, hit that like button, because I'm
hit that like button. Drop a super chat, like whatever you want to do.
Super chat, yeah.
But the thing I would say, Benji, and I'm gonna let you go here in a little bit, but I do want your opinion on this. Is like, so I believe, partly to your point, this is one other point, is that I do leverage, and I do know I don't leverage it in an overt way, but I let it leverage my confidence that I know that I have disproportionately benefited from being a minority in not only content creation, but in public speaking. I know that for a fact, hands down. And I don't think of it as tokenism. I think of it as a sincere effort toward representation. And even if it was that was a recipient of tokenism, I'm not going to have a chip on my shoulder about it. I'm going to use that opportunity to open the doors for other people and to prove the value that the inclusion would offer to people, because it would be diversity of thought on top of everything else. Whether they think they're getting this diversity checkbox, the real diversity checkbox that I always make sure they get is diversity of thought and diversity of value and diversity of experience. And that is something that gives you a strategic advantage, because what I want people to do is stop thinking that they need to be a part of something and think about how what sets them apart, what makes them the most insecure, is probably the thing that would make them all powerful if they really wanted to be. Like, it'd be the thing that makes you undeniable if you really lean into the thing that makes you feel less than, excluded. If you decided to use that as an empowerment of saying, I am unique and therefore rarity is what is for sale.
Yeah, you know, what makes you different makes you unique. And what makes you unique is going to set you apart. And with a platform that's got so much competition for attention, with so many people wanting to do the same thing, I don't know if you posted it, somebody posted it. It's like everybody wants to be a YouTuber in one way or the other. Maybe you're not wanting to be like a daily vlogger or somebody that is an influencer,
Sounds
but you're utilizing the platform as a tool. You know, you mentioned Roger Wakefield, right? He doesn't necessarily want to be a YouTuber, but he definitely wants to use YouTube in a way that benefits his brand. And now he has become an influencer in the weirdest space possible. I'm always like cheering him on from the sidelines, because I met him before he like was this big celebrity, not just in plumbing, but just in general. Like, he got onto CNBC, I think, recently during the Dallas, Texas, and, you know, like freeze or whatever. And so this is the last thing I want to say and leave you and your audience, which I'm so humbled that you would let me up.
I'm so grateful that you gave us any of your time, man.
Yeah, no, the reason I say this is because you said that, you know, creatives are going to be the last thing to be replaced. By the way, Gary Vaynerchuk also says it. He's like, hey, you want to be invaluable to a business or your corporation or just to the world? Be creating. By the way, thank you for all the super chats. Love it when you support us, you know, YouTubers. But the reason I bring this up is you have to really embrace that value you bring to the table, whether it's brand deals or just in general, and know how special that is. There's not a lot of people in this world, even though it might seem like it on YouTube, but YouTube is like this, it's a little world in this bigger world. The fact that you can create an idea that people actually want to listen to, watch, or just be entertained by, shoot that video, and then go and edit it, upload it sometimes within like a day or two. That is freakishly fast. Okay. Now I know Roberto, he spends a lot of time creating quality content, so it might take him longer. But if he had to, and if he had no consultations, didn't have to worry about taxes, maybe even eating, he could bang out a video in 24 hours. That is super.
Oh, dude, I can go daily again if I want to.
For sure, right? And so, what's up, Lewis? Good to see you here. But the reason I bring that up is I know a lot of you are like that too. I spent the last decade representing my wife as her business manager. And the thing that gave me the most power was the fact that I knew how hard she worked and how valuable she was. So it's easy for me to negotiate the highest rates, say no to more deals than I said yes, and always be confident walking away, Roberto, because guess what? How many brands have like, oh, by the way, we found the budget, or you know, we can meet you at your rate, or we'll meet you halfway. Which, by the way, I don't meet them halfway. I'm like, hey, somebody even left a comment earlier. The rate is the rate, because guess what? If they're not willing to pay you for the value you bring to the table, just like that 7-Eleven employee that's not going to give you a free drink or gum on the side, you should move on to the next opportunity, whether that's affiliate marketing, whether that's creating your own product. Because, by the way, you know, like YouTube Secrets, it took me and Sean 4 years to write this, but it sells every single month. It's a passive income. And the reason
Yes.
I bring it up isn't to promote that. It's to tell you that this is why we don't rely on brand deals, because we have passive income. Just like this is why I love this. This is probably one of the best recently I've seen, because you dive into, you don't just show the numbers, you explain how you got there, that it wasn't overnight, that like I started here and there and now I do all these other things. And you're not willing to dive into everything or be transparent because of legal reasons. But man, this is pretty damn transparent in my opinion.
It's about as far as I can go without like worrying about showing personal information in my tax returns at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because I don't trust trying to redact anything like that. But like, and then again, like I said, one day, like I might like, oh, here's the whole thing. One day.
Hey,
but,
bro, I'm looking forward to the day you announce that you reach 7 figures. If you ever want to chat to me on the side about that, you already know I'm going to tell you the same things I always tell you when we hang out. But
yeah.
I'm impressed with how much you make, and realize that, we make 7 figures and we're at peace with that because, of course, we got 4 little girls. We just live a fairly simple life around here. I know it doesn't seem like if you watch our vlog.
No, but I understand it for real. Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, bro, you're closer than you think. And I think the beautiful thing for anybody, and this, I promise, is the last time I'm going to talk. Again, thank you guys for supporting Roberto with the super chat.
You're fine, Benji.
The thing I'd say is this. YouTube is a special place. I think social media, this whole documentary about the social dilemma is unfortunate because guess what? We're the ones that signed up for this algorithm to feed us all this content, right? And it's free. It's free. Roberto and I, I don't know. You and I probably fight more on who doesn't complain about YouTube very much, because I love YouTube and what it's done for us. And realize, everybody, if you understand the significance of how many people use YouTube and that keeps growing, and YouTube Shorts is now going to give you maybe a whole different audience. Dude, you would never think twice about creating content right now if you haven't already. If you're an influencer, create even more valuable content. And lastly, I'd say this. It's only going to get better. All right, this girl, she's done. Roberto, miss you, bro. So glad to be on here. And hopefully I gave you a little bit of a break because you were starting to sweat there.
Yeah, you've been great, Benji. These lights are what they are and whatnot, but like I really enjoy it. I cannot wait to have you back. I'll see you in Clubhouse, brother. Like, peace and love to you and the family. We'll catch you next time, and just thank you for everything.
All right, take care, everyone.
All right, and so that is Benji. Guys, Benji Travis is the co-author of YouTube Secrets, also the co-host of Video Influencers, and he also has a wonderful and charming family. You could definitely check out their YouTube channels. I'll link all of that stuff in the description when we're done here. But Benji offered some great advice, and he is the man when it comes to brand deals. I think I'll have him back on even just to talk about that at some point. But there's just so many opportunities, just like we were talking about. And I want to even break down, before I go into showing you guys some stuff with my media kit, which we will talk about. We will be talking about that, and I'll show you some of that. It's from my 2019. We're redesigning it. But the thing that I will say is that brands and partnerships can be incredibly valuable, but a lot of people do them too early. And there's points where you don't know how to negotiate, you don't know what you're worth, and confidence is really a big part of that. But there's also some other great things that it comes down to is when you're an influencer, too many of you are charging based on your numbers, like we said. Now, I think there's some value to the numbers, but the brands also want a partner. They want someone who can represent them, somebody who's going to represent the values and ideals of the brand. And there's value to, even if you were not working for them and you didn't have a platform. You get paid if you're a video editor no matter what, right? You get paid if you are writing scripts no matter what. You get paid to be a videographer, a director of photography no matter what, right? And then if you worked for a brand and you had no platform, no clout, but you had the face and the look for them, and you were the perfect model or actor or actress for the commercial and the ad, you would get paid even if you get edited out of the ad. If you were the actor in the ad, you would get paid even if you were edited out in the cutting room floor for showing up. It's called a day rate. So why are you, as a content creator and as an influencer, only charging for views when they're going to get that, if they just buy ads in Google or Facebook or whatever, right? So you're charging for views and you're charging for reach and everything. They can get that. They can buy that and they can buy that. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if they don't have any creative, if they don't have any content. And if they have to produce that content, just like Benji was saying, if they have to go to an ad agency or if they have to do that in-house, they have to have like 5 to 8 people on salary to do the same job as you. And the thing is, they would do it and probably sometimes be tone deaf to what the audience wants. So think about it. Think about it. And remember, you're also, the time you're taking to negotiate and go back and forth over revisions, you could have probably cranked out 3 videos that your audience would love by the time you negotiate and figure out one deal with a brand. So I say that, you know, to give you a perspective of the fact that it's like a lot of you, the problem with you pursuing brand deals when you're early to your career, and you should look at this as a career. Unless you want to do it as a hobby, which is fine. If you want to do it as a hobby and a paid hobby, that's fine. But then that means this video isn't for you. You need to look at YouTube as a career and as a business. And the business side of it is that the art of negotiation and pricing your brand and your value would matter. Okay. So let's give you a peek at my media kit. This is part of what is one of my many tools in negotiating with brands. So I put together a media kit that ultimately, breaks down a lot of the things in my brand. Now, this data is old data from 2019, so obviously you have to take this somewhat with a grain of salt because this information is not up to date. That's why a new media kit is. I mean, look at those numbers. This like a new media kit is in order here, but I bring this up because there's a point where I get down to some of these packages. Now, these numbers are not my current numbers. This is not what I currently charge brands, but this gives you an idea of what I used to charge brands. This is a starting point for negotiations. These are not final numbers. I'll just make this a little bit bigger, but these are not final numbers, my friends. Like, these are not final numbers. But this just gives you an idea of what I felt was possible and worthwhile within my brand. Okay. And I have a whole video when I talk about this, but there's other aspects to this because I talk about the possibility for integrations. I talk about my demographics and my numbers. I talk about the types of opportunities there are. And the audience alignment, like who is my content for, the demographics, the numbers, all of it. So again, I also talk about what's included in my integrations. So the thing is, the brand knows what to expect from me. I talk about here are the different things that you could buy into. So I have a smorgasbord of things to offer brands, not just one thing. So it's potentially more powerful than just, oh, here's a shout out in a video. It's very thoughtful and it's very complex, and that's what media kits can do. But also it's a matter of having your head on to know, well, what do I like, where do I offer a brand value, and what things can I offer in my brand, and what can I do for them? I mean, a primary example would be the fact that right now we're doing this live stream, and this live stream is so valuable, and I get to shout out StreamYard and TubeBuddy, linked in the description down below, and they know that there's valuable content that they get to be associated with somebody who represents the brand well. So there's a thing like that there is to the idea of thinking about how are you presenting yourself to a brand. A lot of you don't know how to write an email, both in terms of pitching your content ideas for here's the idea I have for the project and telling them. A lot of times you guys are waiting for them to tell you what to do. You're not an employee. You're not an employee. So why are you waiting for the brand to tell you what to do and what's okay? You need to think about the project you want to do and how the brand is going to integrate into it and how they're going to support. And you want to put them in a position to say yes, no, or hey, can we also have this? And then say, okay, here's what it's going to cost you. You need to have that in mind. But guess what? A lot of you aren't even thinking about that because you're just thinking about how grateful you are to be validated by a brand, and you're charging based on how grateful you are to be validated and to be given an opportunity, instead of thinking about what is the value of integrating this brand and putting them in front of the audience that you built, So you need to be thinking about that, and it's important. And so that's why we talk about it. And it's why I really think that this matters, like a lot. So when you want to work with brands, you need to be thinking about how do you negotiate from a position of strength? How do you provide value to the brand? How does the brand add value to your content and to your audience? What's the alignment between you, the brand, and the audience? It has to be a win for all three parties. And you should look at, when you do a brand deal, again, here's how I know there's a good brand deal. TubeBuddy is a productivity tool that I've taught you how to take advantage of and how to use multiple times, not only for if you don't even care about SEO and optimizing your content. I already showed you how you can improve your thumbnails by making educated decisions using the click magnets tool in TubeBuddy to see how your audience reacts just to your facial expression. That would be worth it to improve your click-through rates. That's not even SEO. That's just click-through rates. I've shown you the productivity suite in optimizing your time with TubeBuddy. That's not even the SEO. So that's why I know it's good for you as the audience if you're a YouTube content creator. And that's why I know it's obviously very lucrative for me and it's very lucrative for the brand. Okay, StreamYard. Some of you want to live stream across multiple platforms like I'm doing now. So guess what? I can promote StreamYard happily because I still pay for it. So that, you can't be more authentic than that. I still pay for StreamYard. I still pay for it even though they're a sponsor. And I'm using it right now to simulcast to Facebook, a Facebook group, a LinkedIn page, a YouTube channel, and to Twitter through Periscope. And it's literally a click of a button. And it's consistent. And it's high quality, and it's letting me do screen sharing really easily. So these are things that, again, I'm happy to advocate for. Number one, there's a free version of them, link down below, that I get to shout out. Two, I get to demonstrate and do tutorial content, so it helps me make content. Then they finance things that let me do content even outside of that and up the quality, production value, or the experience that I can for that. And so TubeBuddy helped me do channel reviews. StreamYard is going to help me do that. Like, you know, so there's so many things that you can do, but you have to understand that alignment. What am I going to do that's going to make this worthwhile to where my viewers respect me if I do brand deals? What am I going to do to help the brand see that I can give them value and provide them value? Showing my affiliate numbers to another brand and showing them, here's how many installs I can get for you guys on a comparable app to a comparable price. You realize how valuable affiliate marketing has been in me negotiating brand deals where my numbers alone won't do it, but my sales conversions and affiliate and showing them proof. Same way I show you guys proof of, here's proof that I make 6 figures when I say I make 6 figures. Here's proof of my YouTube analytics and growth. Here's the analytics that shows you where my subscribers come from and where the views and where my country's stuff comes from, so that you know I'm not view botting views from Bangladesh. Love any viewers in Bangladesh, by the way. So like, you get what I'm saying? I always use transparency as leverage because there's nothing more powerful and incontrovertible than the truth. So if I can deliver for brands, it's easy to show them that because I can show them the sales numbers of my audience. I can show them the affiliate numbers of my audience. I can show them product installs. So that's leverage that my YouTube ad revenue and my YouTube traffic numbers and my YouTube subscriber count doesn't offer a brand. Sales numbers matter to a brand, so I can prove my sales numbers, okay? So that's leverage, and that's another negotiating tool. If you guys didn't know anything else, like affiliate marketing, in addition to being another great revenue stream, is a negotiating tool for your brand deals also. I use that even the early days of my YouTube channel when I wanted to get access to to tech products. When I wanted access to tech products and to laptops and stuff like that in the early days, I was able to use my Amazon affiliate numbers and show my laptop product category for budget laptop reviews, reviewing my own budget laptops that I'd bought or bought in the past and my recommendations. I was able to show them the product category sales. And that was my leverage to be able to get access to a laptop to review for my channel. And that got me to work with Dell and it got me to work with HP. And those ended up being very successful videos for my channel and the brands were great with it. So I just want you to understand all these things that we're talking about in actionable, realistic terms. Some of this is better than content in online courses when we do these live events every week. And I also want you to understand that if you do decide to work with me in one-on-one coaching, if you do decide to, if I ever make courses, buy those in the future, you'll know that it's going to be valuable. You'll know that it's going to be quality because you already got quality content from me for free. You know that I'm going to go the extra mile and make the rest of my content even more actionable than this. And that it's probably just going to be something that's so dry and detailed and specific that I could never get views on a video anyway. So, I mean, it's that kind of thing. It's that kind of thing. So I want to give a shout out here to IMX Gend I think that's like kind of saying I am legend or something. It's like, oh yeah, I think it's kind of like I am legend, but with an X. That's cool. Everything you're saying right now is confirmation for me. I was literally just talking about this with my girlfriend. I feel so ripped off. My gosh. So yeah, like the brands, it's not that the brands are trying to rip you off. The brands are trying to save their budget. And if we don't ask for what we need, we're not going to get it. And that's just how it is, because they're doing what's right for their business. Guess what? We have to do what's right for our business. We have to do what's right for our business. So that's important. If the brands are going to act in their interest, then we have to do what's right in our business. If the brands are going to do what's in the best interest of their business, we have to do what's in the best interest of our business. And that's why I want you to treat YouTube like a business. I want you to, take it very seriously. And so, like, I love what you're saying here, that you accept full responsibility. Yeah, that's great. I want more creators to accept full responsibility for that. So like, I love that. Jan has a little shout out for StreamYard. StreamYard opens the doors to the easiest way to do lives, in my opinion, honestly the best. I couldn't agree more, and that's why they're our sponsor. So, I love that. There are obviously limitations, by the way, on the free versions of things versus the paid version of things. But that's why we sample the free and then we do the paid if we can afford it, So that is how we do it. I want to go back to some stuff with budgeting and profit first and taxes for you guys real quick, because I think it's important, because a lot of people are asking even about the tax stuff. So the thing with taxes is that you have to go to a CPA and accountant. Don't take financial advice from just people on the internet, blah, blah, blah. Disclaimer, right? So I have, bookkeeping services. I have bench accounting, and I use TimberTax as my CPAs right now, and I like them. So the thing is, there's a such thing as your effective tax rates. I'm not a tax person. I'm not I'm not an attorney. I'm not any of those things. So just take all this with a grain of salt. I do believe in setting aside like up to 30% for your taxes, depending on what tax bracket you're in. For a lot of people, if you're in the $100,000 range for the first time, your effective tax bracket is going to be closer to that 15% range, which is why we use this. Even up to maybe up to about $250,000, your effective tax rate would be like around 15%, up to about $250,000. Okay. So the first time I made this amount of money, it was like mind blowing to me too. And again, you might think that, wow, living off $100,000 a year might sound very extravagant, but I want to remind you that, like, if you take care of people, whether you're, some of you are caregivers, you're, dealing with your parents or your grandparents, or somebody in your family is disabled. If you're a caregiver, you already know that $125,000 a year isn't as much money as a lot of other people might feel or think that it is. So that could be different. If you have 4 kids like Benji, or 7 kids like my friend Tim, like, that money is not as extravagant as it sounds. As it is, even in New York and California, that money doesn't go very far at all. So it depends on where you live. Cost of living matters, and that's why Benji gave the great advice that sometimes it's about cutting your cost of living and moving to other places. So again, even at $250,000, you're not keeping $250,000. You're just making 6 figures that you take home as owners pay, owners draw. Because the thing is, to make that kind of money, it's not out of the ordinary for you to have to spend this kind of money. And what would you be spending that on? You'd be spending that on having something like a personal assistant. Like Benji was talking about how important it is to take things off of his wife's plate. So the thing is, you have to remember that taking things off of your plate, taking things off your husband or wife's plate, those are things that are going to cost money in the business. Hiring people and hiring a team and being responsible and paying those people well is important. I mean, I hired my sister into the business to take some things off my plate. It's one of the best decisions for my mental health that I ever made, was hiring her into the business. And it also helps her out with her, paying back student loans and things like that. And she has, some situations where, like, her capacity, she used to work a corporate job. Her health doesn't allow her to do that anymore. So, but I can work around her issues. I can work around that. I don't like talking about that because that's personal. It's not my story to tell. But I'm using an example to where this kind of money can be life-changing for your family. This kind of money can let you be life-changing as an employer that can work around somebody that might have an issue that wouldn't otherwise allow them to be part of the workforce. But you also have to account for the fact that you're going to probably pay a lot of taxes, and this is probably closer to the bottom of that bracket this is the bottom of that bracket. It could be higher, and it depends on whether you put more into your business. But I would recommend that you really think about how to spend money within your business long term to buy back time for you and your family, because you shouldn't be beholden to your business as well, because you don't want to feel like you're killing yourself for this. You don't. So what you want to do is you want to be able to spend your money and live frugally and live thoughtfully, and then account for this larger potential tax number. But again, I'm not telling you this is what you'll pay in taxes, but you can use any type of these profit first calculators and cost of living calculators to start to figure this stuff out. Because again, if we make the assumption that, like, let's say you were paying yourself to the point of where you're making like 6 figures, you're making about 8, let's see how we're going to do this. Give me a second. You're making, like, in theory, $8,800 a month after you pay taxes and expenses and your team and everything, that this is your take home pay. Well, remember your necessities, and this could skew on necessities, salary, wants and everything like that, savings and debt, because like, well, what about putting away for your retirement? Realistically, I mean, we could probably do some appropriate type of retirement calculator, but I'm the kind of person that I think a lot about the FIRE movement, about financial independence, retire early. I think a lot about how to max out my tax deductions. And again, I'm not a tax attorney, so this is a grain of salt. This is not financial advice, but I think a lot about, well, how can we, reduce our tax liability, and how can we save for our future in case the worst should happen? How do we put away money for an emergency fund? 60% of Americans don't have $1,000 for emergencies. It's terrible. 80% of Americans don't have $10,000. That would be one medical expense beyond the coverage of your medical insurance. Not everything is covered by insurance. Mental health services, not all covered by insurance. Dental, not all covered by insurance. There's a lot of things that aren't covered by insurance, no matter how good your coverage is. So you need that. You need to be able to put away accidental death and disability insurance. You need to have some kind of catastrophic potential policy. Just the amount of money as a self-employed person that goes to insurance could be staggering if you really get into the weeds on it, and if you think about how you're going to protect your family. All right. And by the way, for this lifestyle like budget calculator, this is at nerdwallet.com. Definitely would recommend them for stuff like that. This is a free website. It just has great tools like this. But I use that, and I use things like these profit first calculators because they help you just put it into perspective of how you're going to allocate money. And again, I also like using retirement calculators, because even if you're not planning to retire, you should be acting as if, God forbid, you're not physically allowed to continue to hustle anymore. So like, how would you deal with things then? So you should be putting away money for savings. You should be putting away emergency money even for the business, for like a laptop or a camera breaking, okay? So that should be profit that's in the coffers of the business. We usually put away 5% or more. I even take out of like the money that I take home that I profit as an owner's pay, owner's draw. Most of what doesn't go toward my necessities and me covering the fact that I retired my mother, so I like cover her. I help my sister, my youngest sister, with college now. Like I have a lot of responsibilities, even though I'm a single guy, eligible. Even though I'm an eligible bachelor, I have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of people I take care of. I take care of the people on my team that work for me remotely. So I have to make a certain amount of money to be able to take care of everybody in my life that I'm responsible for. And you also want to make sure that you're investing in your future. So most of my money that doesn't go into camera gear, making a better content experience for all of you, anything that doesn't go into my team and making sure they're taken care of and they don't have to worry during a pandemic, taking care of the people in my family who may not be able to take care of themselves. All of that, after all that's said and done, I don't own a Lamborghini. I own a Nissan. Like I only spend money really into my business, and I put money away in my investment portfolio and into the beginnings of my real estate portfolio. I don't own this place yet. I'm looking for something that I like, but I'm looking at and putting away money specifically, and putting money in REITs as well. I'm making investments in stocks and real estate for the long term of my future, for the legacy for my family, for generations to come. I put money away to save it. And other than that, I spend it on tax deductions in terms of my retirement accounts to lower my tax liability. And I spend money into the business itself to create better experiences for you guys, and to grow a team to give me my time back, to give me my life back, so I won't have to be an eligible bachelor forever. And so there's a real opportunity cost to everything you do, and I want you guys to start thinking about that. I mean, look into your taxable accounts. Look into your tax advantage accounts. You know, if you're self-employed, you can do a 401k, and you're not limited to just the contributions for the employee side of that. If you're self-employed, you also get the employer side. A lot of people don't realize that. So you might be able to double the amount of contribution to your 401k if you're self-employed. You just have to be set up as a proper business. Again, talk to a CPA about this. Talk to an accountant. See what you can save in taxes. I currently use a SEP IRA. A SEP IRA allows me to contribute about $50,000 plus a year if I wanted to max that out. I'm not telling you that that's what I'm contributing, but make a plan for that if you make a certain amount of money. But a SEP IRA allows you to put away up to 25% up to 50, I believe 50, or is it 55? $50 or $55,000 with a SEP IRA. You can open that with your bank or with a brokerage firm that you like, and then you can invest that into whatever you want with the stock market. And I'm not telling you to do that because, again, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Do not trust YouTubers on the internet to tell you how to, you know, deal with your finances. Talk to a CPA, a lawyer, a financial planner. Disclaimer. But I'm making a point here. Like, have a plan and a tax strategy that you've gone through the professional channels to set up. Use the internet and internet advice for research and inspiration, and you know that could be extraordinarily helpful to you. And then that means that you're keeping more of your money into your family. See, I have a financial rule that I like to play by that I started thinking of a little while ago. I want to say that what I started going by was this idea of, why don't I stop making other people rich, right? And what I mean by that is I don't mean to like not spend money on things at all, and I don't mean that you can't, you know, spend money and do things that you want if you want to buy quality products or anything like that. Think about me. I buy Sony everything and I buy Apple everything. And so, but the thing is, I do feel like when I'm doing that I'm investing in myself, right? So what do I mean by stop making other people rich? It occurred to me at a certain point when I used this model of stop making other people rich, that I looked at my grandmother, who's no longer with us, and I did a calculation that in her lifetime, she might have paid about $700,000 in rent living in New York in her lifetime, even with a little bit of rent control. I think she paid $700,000 in her lifetime to just never own property. $700,000 in her lifetime to never own a house in rent, and renting makes somebody else rich. So I thought about that, and that's why I decided recently that I'm going to not rent in the future. I'm going to try to get into a mortgage and try to get something I like, because I realize that the longer I rent, I will be making someone else rich. In my adult life, I'll share something with you in full disclosure. In my adult life, I've probably spent $196,000 in my adult life in renting, because I'm about to be 37 years old, and I did some rough math. And I've spent $196,000 in my life renting as an adult to not own a house. I want you to think about that. $196,000 in my adult life to rent in the South in my lifetime as an adult, and that's not owning. That's money that went outside of my family and outside of my legacy. So when I say don't make other people rich, I mean, how are you going to keep more of your money in your family? Okay. And we don't think like this. No one's taught us to think like this. So I'm teaching you how to think like this, because I believe in the creator economy. I believe that independence is important. I believe that independence from institutions, from platforms, from employers, I believe in all of that. I believe in true independence and true freedom. And I believe that when you're armed with the right knowledge, if you know better, you can do better. If you know better, you can do better. So what you need to do is you need to put yourself on the other side of these transactions. So what I would say is this. Like, I would say that one of the first things to do is when you start prioritizing your money, when you start making extra money from being a content creator, you start thinking of how to ultimately long-term protect yourself. And one of the leverage points that me and Benji were talking about was this idea of like your living expenses. And the thing is, it's actually ultimately minus the down payment initially, it ends up being cheaper to pay a mortgage than the rent. And the thing is, when you end up in that mortgage, and again, not financial advice, and I'm not a real estate guy, but I will say that when you pay a mortgage, the idea is that eventually, if you don't default, that money goes to your future you and your future descendants. It goes to you and it goes to your descendants, because if you start paying into a mortgage, you're getting equity. So that means that money, instead of going to a landlord where you will never see it again, you'll never see it again, like my $196,000 that goes to landlords, like you will never see that money again. But if you start paying a mortgage, as long as you don't default, that money is yours and that property is yours. So, and again, stop making other people rich, right? Renting makes other people rich. Owning makes you rich. Renting makes them rich. So you move to that, okay? Things like I decided to pay off my car. Now I'm in a car note again because I gave my car to my younger brother. So I'm in a car note again, but I'm gonna be paying that off. And then when I pay that, again, it's mine. So now I have an asset instead of a liability. It's a depreciating asset, but at least it's mine. That means my cost every month is evaporated, and because I'm paying my car off early, I'm paying less in interest, because paying a car off in 2 years means I'm not paying a bunch of interest, and then it means that every year after that I own that car, I'm not paying a car note. So I'm starting to recoup the value through ownership. Ownership is the difference between not only, making yourself rich versus someone else rich. Ownership is the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur. Who owns the rights to the intellectual property? Who owns the right to your content? You. That's what is entrepreneurial about YouTube. Who owns the relationship with the audience? Well, if the platform does, that's a problem. That's why I believe in email list and having your own e-commerce, your own website, because then you own a customer relationship. You own your audience. So the thing is, when you get a transaction, you own the audience. When you are relying on the platform, you don't own the audience. That's why I want a lot of you to start joining my newsletter. And again, I want to get more of you to join either Awesome Creator Academy through coaching or the YouTube Starter Kit or something, because I want the relationship with you. I want the transaction with you. I don't want YouTube to have sole possession of the relationship. All right. So I believe in that. So ownership of everything, ownership of your audience, ownership of your resources, ownership of your assets, ownership of everything. Ownership over your income. I believe in this. I believe in this thoroughly. So this is why, and Brandon's right, this is one of the reasons for the income and wealth gap, so I want to be able, think about it. I was able to give my brother my car because I owned it. Think about it. So one of the other things with all of this is these things also can help you with your tax liability. In this case, again, not tax advice, not a lawyer, not a CPA, not a financial advisor. I look at it from the standpoint that if you start making extra income from YouTube, before you decide to upscale your lifestyle, if there are things in your lifestyle that you need to address, I would start then looking at how do you save money that lets you take ownership of your things and your liabilities, and how do you reduce debt? I like telling people to not transition necessarily out of their day job from YouTube yet until they take a hard look at their debt situation and they get their debt situation under control. Because if you have debt, or God forbid you went into debt to do YouTube, I want you to clean up some of your debt before you quit a day job that gives you a stable income, and that's a transitional thing. So that's part of it. I want to read this comment from Brandon from This Is Tech Today. He's a great content creator. One of the biggest reasons for an income gap, especially between minorities, is that the generational wealth isn't passed down. Major part of that, not owning a house. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And absolutely, Ezekiel, ownership is extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful. So I believe that taking ownership is really important. So when we transition from YouTube, or rather when we transition to YouTube full time, in my mind, before you do that, start to address the savings issue and the debt issue. You want some runway in savings to not have the anxiety that Benji and I talked about earlier with relying on different things that could go away. And you want to know you've taken care of that. I'm not telling you have to own your house before you start a YouTube channel, but I would love for you to be in a much more financially stable situation, and not be beholden to someone or answering to somebody else. I would like you to have more ownership in your life, before you to make that kind of leap. And some of that could just be addressing your debt issues and having some savings and some runway. Okay, so I like that. This is why we're talking about the business of a YouTube channel. We want to think of this as a career. We want to think of content creation as a career even beyond YouTube. And we want to have security, safety, stability, and we want to have more for our families, right? So that's why I'm talking about it. And that's why I'm doing this video today. Now, the other thing is that when we look at all this model of, okay, we'll stop making other people rich, we want to start reducing some of our spending. And we want to say that when we spend things, are they things for our business? Do we have our business set up? And also, are we setting ourselves up for tax advantages and tax deductions? I already told you, I try to not buy anything that's not a tax deduction. And I don't like put anything as a tax deduction that isn't. I did a video about this. You can actually watch my video on YouTube taxes from last year. I think it's a solid video for you, but it comes down to, is it a reasonable and necessary expense for my business? And that's a very easy yes to both in most cases of tech, hardware, education, events, travel. That's also very easy to just accommodate. So I look at things like that. The other thing that I want to definitely talk to you about in this whole, well, don't make other people rich thing is, remember, think about money circulating outside of your household and your family and outside of your legacy. And really think about that whenever you're making financial choices and decisions. That's why one of the first things that I looked at was, well, am I going to hire family into my business? Now, not everyone should do that. Not everyone can work with family, and it doesn't always work. Okay. But sometimes it's something to consider, because hopefully if you can't trust family, well, who can you trust? In some cases, that's not true for everybody, and everyone has that situation. So grain of salt there. And it's not always a good idea. But if you can, you want to try and circulate money in the family. I know a lot of content creators and people that have turned their YouTube and content creation careers into family businesses, and it's been tremendous. It's not for everybody, but for people who it can be, it's powerful, and it becomes the powerful founding story of the legacy of your family, of that you guys went independent, you did something, and you built a family business that can be passed on in some way, shape, or form. So I love this for people. I love this for people. Okay. Another part of the, like, don't make other people rich thing, and just want to like acknowledge some of the super chats here. Another part of that is look at how you are paying yourself, and then look at what you're spending your money on. Think about what you're spending your money on. Is it things that enrich you and things that better you? Or is it consumerism for consumerism's sake, where you're making the brand's money and to where you're doing that? Even in stuff, and this is an exception because like right now I'm not wearing any of my own merch, but even in stuff like, okay, why are you wearing merch that isn't promoting you or one of your homies? Why are you wearing, like, sometimes, I mean, if you're a content creator, I don't think unless it's part of your brand, like, okay, you don't need to wear name brands, so you can stop spending some money there. But if you're going to spend money, are you going to keep it in your community of other content creators you support? Are you going to like just wear your own merch? Because that's what I do. I wear my merch and I wear merch of other content creators because I keep money even in my creator family. Even when I spend money into the creator economy. I spend money into my creator family. So if it's not money that's going into my family, it goes into my creator family, it goes into my creator community, it goes into my homies. Okay. So it goes into people I support. So that's something I think about. All right. Now let's move on though from this part of it to some Q&A for you guys, because I want to answer some of your questions, because I think I covered most of the stuff I wanted to cover. I showed you guys my affiliate stuff to some extent. I showed you ad revenue, and we talked about that. We talked about brand deals with Benji at length. I showed you my media kit and my media deck. I showed you a little bit of, I mean, I could show you a little bit more of some of the back end stuff with my business. And I'll do that very briefly because I want to give you guys time. First of all, I'm going to give you guys time to ask your questions, and then we'll wrap up here. But in the meantime, while you're getting those questions, I'm going to show you a little bit of something in terms of my business. I'm just going to pop this up on the screen here. So I have a business, Awesome Creator Academy. This is my education platform and brand. Now, it's not the only business that I have, and I'm actually starting another new venture soon that I'll probably let you guys get a first look at some point soon. But what I want to do is I want to explain something. What I have and what I do is mostly not product stuff, but service stuff. So I have a membership for content creators, not YouTubers, content creators, career content creators, people who want to be awesome content creators. So we have exclusive video training in our membership website, and we have, I think, 100 members right now that pay monthly or yearly. Now, the thing is, no one has to join this. No one has to buy this. It is linked in the description. It's awesomecreatoracademy.com. You don't have to be obligated. But we have YouTube training as well, and we do live events that are exclusive for our members every week, and we do an exclusive Q&A every week. And so that's available. But this is something that I decided to sell. I also sell my own personal time. This price will go up in the future. But people book one-on-one coaching calls with me for 90 minutes. People also buy the YouTube Starter Kit. It's the flagship product that we have for YouTube content creators. And I answer all of your questions on the website. It explains everything that you would want or need to know. And we have a few people in the community who can tell you what, being a member or even having coaching calls with me has done for them. We talked about some of the anecdotes here on the channel, but the thing is, you guys don't have to do this, and you don't have to feel obligated to do anything. Again, the content here is free, but also someone would say, well, Roberto, is it really free or is it part of a marketing funnel? Even if it is, what I want you to understand is that nothing in life is ever really free. Somebody paid for it. Everything you had from ages 0 to 18 wasn't free. Your parents gifted you that. Your parents invested in you. The paying members of Awesome Creator Academy, the one-on-one coaching clients, all of them invested in the ability for me to make better content for you guys for free. So technically for free, technically for $0, but it was covered by the brands who sponsor us like TubeBuddy and StreamYard. It was paid for by the paying members of the Academy membership. It was paid for by the YouTube channel members. It was paid for by the coaching clients. Everybody who contributes and puts money back into my brand and business makes it better for everyone who can't afford to do that. And that's what your business should look like in theory as well. I want you to understand that what you as a content creator do takes time. It takes time away from your family when you make content. It takes time away from you working on your own personal development or even your own entertainment and enrichment when you make content. When you're slaving away and you're doing those 8 or 10 hour edits, nobody's paying you for your time. So when it goes out into YouTube, in theory, the advertisers help get you that time back or that value back. Your channel members and the people who buy from you give that back. So guess what? Someone always is paying. Now, when you're getting free content, it's because there is some mechanism that is allowing that content creator to do that. If they're a young YouTuber, it's their parents that are covering them. They're allowing them, if it's a young YouTuber, to create content and give it away. If it's someone that is older, then it's their day job that's allowing them to be in that position to do it unless they've become a full-time content creator. So this is a mindset thing that I want to teach people, is I want to teach people that free content has an opportunity cost of taking someone away from their family or taking someone away from their own personal enrichment. And the thing is, that cost is paid by somebody. Either the creator is doing it at a loss, which I want less of you to go through doing your content at a loss, or somebody is paying for it. Advertisers, brands, or the people who can afford to buy products, the people who can do affiliate links. Somebody has to compensate creators, or it's not sustainable for their lifestyle and for their content. And it also makes it very, very difficult to make better content. People can make better content when they can invest in better camera gear and lenses. People can make better content when they can afford to hire people to help them get more sleep at night so they're refreshed and be able to do that content. People can make better content when they don't have anxiety about how they're going to pay their bills. And so since I want more content creators making that money, I have to advocate for the fact that it is fine for you to be a capitalist and fine for you to charge money, fine for you to have special experiences for some people and free content for other people, and that it's not gatekeeping, but it is what is necessary to make it a sustainable lifestyle and career choice for all future content creators. All future content creators need to know it's okay to sell things. All future content creators need to know it's okay to take brand deals. All future content creators need to know that it's okay to charge money for their time with a business. All future content creators need to know that if they have knowledge, that they can sell courses as long as they're doing the right things, okay? There has to be an equivalent exchange of value, and there has to be somebody to be able to compensate creators to make it all sustainable full time for the future of the creator economy. It's essential, it's vital, and it's necessary. And we have to accept that as reality. And so the thing is, we have to also start to teach our audiences that that's the truth. And the thing is, things like the adpocalypse, where a lot of YouTubers lost ad revenue, or where some people lost everything, or when COVID happened and some people weren't able to do brand deals anymore. Like, it changed things for people, and they had to find new options, and they had to, unfortunately, sometimes ask their audience to support them with their wallets. And we have to get to a place where we can have honest and real conversations about why that matters and that creators are valuable. And so the thing is, I want you to start realizing that, you don't get to a point of being a full-time content creator by luck. A viral video, I know a lot of people will say, well, if someone went viral, they got lucky. I never went viral. So what I will say is I didn't get lucky and I didn't go viral. But even someone who did go viral, they didn't get lucky just because they don't control the algorithm. To say that someone who went viral got lucky ignores and invalidates the choice that those hundreds of thousands or millions of people made. 100,000 people or 1 million people saying yes to somebody, that's not luck, that's choice. And when you say it's luck, you're invalidating the choice of the viewer. Saying viral videos are luck invalidates the choice of the viewer, because YouTube can throw something in your face all day and you won't click on it if you don't want to. So I will never say that someone who went viral got lucky, because I will never invalidate the choice of the viewers in that way, because the viewers decide who goes viral. The platform can give people exposure to its heart's content, but we ain't gonna click on it if we ain't interested. We are not gonna click on a video we're not interested in. You cannot say that a viral content creator is lucky just because they don't control that, because you're invalidating the person who does have the control, which is the viewer. And that's why I believe in the content model of thinking about how do we put our audiences first? How do we put viewers first? How do we make the choice of a viewer to say yes more convenient? How do we make it more accessible? How do we make it more attractive? How do we make it more attention getting? So that's why I believe in viewer choice, audience choices, customer choices, and that's why I don't believe in luck in that way. I don't believe in luck in that way. Opportunities are great, but if people reject you, opportunity means nothing, right? If you can't deliver on opportunities, it means nothing. Talent without training is meaningless in many cases, and the reverse is also true. Okay, so I will not invalidate a viewer's choices by saying a viral video was luck because of the algorithm, because the algorithm follows the audience and the audience still has to decide. So people deciding to support you, people who decide to support you, that might be a fortunate situation because it doesn't happen to everybody, but it ain't lucky. We need to stop being lazy with our language and saying that success is luck, because it's invalidating people's choices to support with their eyeballs and with their wallets. When someone makes a lot of money, it's because they create a ton of value for people who decided with their wallets. Every single one of you makes a decision with your wallet. There's no luck in that. That's a choice that you're making of who you do and don't want to support. So someone who's the beneficiary or recipient of that is wildly fortunate. I will say that that person is fortunate. I will never say that they're lucky. I won't even call them privileged, because I'm not going to invalidate the choice of the consumer or the viewer who said what they did or didn't want to support. So I don't think it's really that likely that a successful creator is lucky. I think that successful creators could be considered fortunate. Some people are more fortunate than others. But I think that ultimately we have to look at and respect creativity, and we have to respect the value of creativity. We have to look at content creators as careers. Okay, we have to look at this as a career. And I want you, again, you can call yourself a YouTuber. I don't have a problem with that, but I want you to think of yourself as a content creator. I want you to think of yourself as a YouTuber. I want you to think of yourself as a TikToker. I want you to think of yourself as a Twitch streamer. I want you to think of yourself as an Instagrammer. I want you to think of yourself as a content creator, as a creative professional, and as someone who's in the creator economy, creating value for your viewers and for your audience, and creating value for your advertisers, and creating value for your brands, and creating value for the affiliates. I want you to understand that you're being rewarded for the value that you create. That's what's happening. So I don't think you're lucky. I think you might be fortunate. I think you might be more fortunate than some other people. I think that you might have luxury circumstances if you've managed to make $100,000 or $1 million. But I'm not going to sit here and disrespect your sacrifices. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to disrespect the choices that viewers and customers made either by suggesting that it was granted or given to you and it wasn't earned. Because I'm not going to disrespect you. And I don't think that saying that disrespects someone who hasn't gotten there yet. And that's the truth. And that's just the truth. Oh, Tap says, a lot of people are not willing to spend 3 hours of their Sunday with you, but wants to have all that knowledge as they would have had after being here with you for those few hours. I mean, there's some truth to that. If there's some truth to that. Someone says, if we have the money for it already, at what point in the process should you suggest someone join Awesome Creator Academy if we're thinking about it? Look, I will tell you something that a lot of people who sell coaching and courses won't tell you. If you haven't made any money off of the advice that I've given you or saved equivalent time to the money you'd be spending, I don't want you to spend money with me yet. If you haven't made money with me or saved time equivalent to the same amount of money, I don't want you spending it with me yet. A lot of you, if you haven't monetized your YouTube channel yet, I'm not convinced that you might be ready for this unless you have a business. And if you have a business, I want you to be making sales before you sign up with me, because I'm going to go hard and I'm not from zero with the stuff that's paid. The stuff that if you have $0 or have made $0, use my free content. Use my level 0 content, which costs you $0. That's why it's level 0, okay? If you're ready to go to level 1, for real, I want you to have already made money or be making money, okay? Or to already have money, aka already have a business or have a very well-paying job and be prepared to put some money into that. But I'm one of the only people who will be real with you and give you that qualifier of do not spend money with me if I haven't made you money or saved you time. But if I have, let's go. But only if also, by the way, I think the first thing you invest in isn't, get training, get coaching, get education. I think the first thing you invest in is how can you invest in making a better quality piece of content for your audience? How do you put the audience first? And one of the first things you do to put the audience first is you invest in making a better experience for them in lighting, in audio, in the lens that you might be using, making that sharper or whatever, video editing software. Or how do you buy your own time back by maybe bringing on a little bit of help? I like the idea of spending money on those things first. Now, you may not know how to do some of those things, which is why you might reach out, for specific advice, excuse me. So again, I feel that my help is most valuable to people who have at least monetized their YouTube channel. And I'm trying to do everything with my free content to get you there if you're not already there. Sorry, I need a little bit of water. So if you have a business, I can help you either with one-on-one training or in the group membership. If you have a monetized YouTube channel, I can help you in one-on-one training or in the group membership training that we do every week and the Q&As we do every week. So we do 2 lives a week exclusive to Academy members. But if you don't have that, then use the free training here on the YouTube channel. Use the live stream replays, use all of the free knowledge here. I beg of you, that's real. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm planning to do something really interesting for YouTube channel members that are paying the $5 a month that YouTube sets up, even though YouTube takes 30% of that, I get 70% of that. So that's how channel memberships work. I am planning to release something for old and new channel members. And also for anybody who's still just doing Patreon because some people like to pay that way. I'm going to be releasing a exclusive series that's going to be a whiteboard series. It's going to be Roberto's whiteboard lectures, and that's going to be for anyone on YouTube channel memberships or Patreon that's paying the $5 or more, whatever YouTube and Patreon allow for, whatever that is. All tiers, you'll get the whiteboard videos, because I'm just going to do unedited whiteboard lectures as a series, and I'm just going to make a single exclusive series of people who want access to that indefinitely, and then once in a while we'll make another series of those videos twice a year, 3 times a year, whatever. Me and my team will talk about it, but we're going to do that just for people to get something extra that want to support with what little money they have. But we have so much free content that's better than most online courses that I'm like, you can get very far. There are people who got to a silver or gold play button in this community without spending $1. But not everybody can do that because not everybody learns well on their own. Some people need more help than others. So it's fine. And so I just want to be transparent with you about we can't please everybody. We can't help everybody. But I think that we can help people like me, and I think there are more of you that are out there than a lot of other people, so I feel like there's real value in knowing how to invest in yourself. So like I keep saying, I think the best investments a lot of times are in what makes the content better for your audience. I think the best investments often are what make things better for your audience. I think beyond that, the things that make things better for you, make it easier to create your content, make it easier to get your time back. For me, that was gear. Both sides of that were gear for me. Faster hard drives, better editing computer, better lighting, better audio, better camera gear, better backdrops, better everything, right? That made my work faster. It made me happier to make content, and it made the content higher quality for you guys. I've been shooting everything in 4K for years, aside from the live streams. And so that mattered to me and got me speed back. Hiring Andy and Brooke into my business, hiring Frost to help with the music channel, all of that made my life better. So I love paying freelancers. I hire people on Fiverr. All of that made my life better. So that I think is a good investment. I think after doing things that give you back your time, make things better for your audience, if you feel you need specific knowledge, then you can hire people like me or Daniel Battelle or Sean Cannell or Nick Nimmin or Brian G. Johnson or Sonny Lenarduzzi or Vanessa Lau. I think all of that's fine. I don't have any problems with people who offer coaching or courses or programs or trainings or any of it, or events. Go to VidSummit. Go to my friend Daryl Eves, VidSummit. You can buy books like YouTube Secrets. You could buy YouTube Formula. You could buy Tube Ritual. I'm writing a book, YouTube Money. You can buy books, however best you learn. My brother can't learn as deeply from books because he has, a situation where reading comprehension isn't what works for him. Okay. I know other people like that. I have friends who are dyslexic. I have people in my family who have autism. Not everyone's going to learn the way that you can't recommend books in college to everybody. I really believe in this. You can't recommend books in college to everybody, because what about all the people who are neurodiverse who that doesn't work for? What about all the people who have been thrown away by our systems and our institutions that our institutions have failed? So you can't just say, oh, the best bet and best investment is college and books, because that doesn't work for everybody. Because how many people, they've tried giving that to everybody. How many people in America are successful? So clearly that's not the answer. Not for everybody. Not for everybody. And no one will tell you that. That's the truth. And no one will tell you that, because then they'll get accused of a lot of different things if they tell you that. But like, real talk, like, okay, in your lifetime, how great has the institutions worked out for you? I'm not getting political. I'm just saying. So that's my thing. What works for you is what works for you. A lot of people, the reason that like YouTube blew up is because video content, both for education and entertainment purposes, worked for a lot of people. I learned so much from YouTube. I learned more from YouTube in some ways than I ever did from going to college, or even in some cases going to school in general. And not because I wasn't a good student all the time or anything like that, but because there are different learning aptitudes. There are different learning aptitudes, and not every school accommodates that. And not every school is funded well. Not every school is funded well. You could be the best student at the worst school, and how much would that matter? So again, I'm getting I should save that for real talk with Roberto. But I mean, I think a lot of you understand and feel where I'm coming from. There's a lot that goes into a lot of these things. I mean, people go into massive amounts of student loan debt. My sister has, been somebody who was on the other end of that, and it didn't guarantee her a better career or a better life. Sad to say. Okay. My brother had his student loans forgiving because a lot of you probably know this, that the Art Institute ended up actually being a scam. Lo and behold, a college ended up being a scam. So guess what? My brother's student loans were all forgiven because the college that he went into debt, tens of thousands of dollars to go to, turned out to be a scam. So I and again, I'm not saying this and I'm not anti-college. I actually advocate for a lot of the institutions, teachers who have left, who can't say and speak up for themselves or say how the system handcuffs them with their limitations. I have a friend, Professor Nez, who can tell you all about how academia holds back the teachers and the educators, because I'm in support of the teachers and the educators, but not always the limitations and the failings of the institutions. I think there are great educators that are held back from doing their job. But I'm also willing to work with the college system. I'm actually working with some people in the education system to bridge the gap between entrepreneurship, creativity, and the new economy, because I think that that's matters. So I'm not anti-college, but I'm very skeptical of institutions more than I am of the private sector. And I think enough people have had experiences to where that's a valid concern. But I'll save that for Real Talk with Roberto. JC Helps, thank you for the question. Roberto, do you do 1 or 2 lives a week in the Academy? In the Academy, we do a live Q&A once a week, usually toward the beginning of the week, and then a training event. And then we make the archives of the training events available. And that is why we've accumulated over 50 plus hours of exclusive training. And so we do deep dives on different topics. And we're not just teaching you about YouTube. We're teaching you about different platforms. We're teaching about the monetization stuff that I broke down here. So we have stuff on video editing. We have stuff on brand deals. We have stuff on even LinkedIn. A lot of you don't realize that LinkedIn would actually help you get better brand deals, because you need to be able to know who to contact at companies. And if you build a professional network in LinkedIn, and don't go there and say, I'm a YouTuber, or it's like you put in your profile that you're a media company, you're a content creator, and you basically set yourself in a position to build out advocacy for yourself with the brands in LinkedIn. And then that would get you access to PR companies that have budgets, individual agencies, talent managers. LinkedIn is underrated for content creators, and that's one of the things we go into. But it's hard to get that content to have traction on the YouTube channel. I'm going to try and figure it out, because I still want to expose that to this audience. But we go deeper into some of these things in a way that, all right, I'm going to tell you another story. YouTube content creators, as you guys well know, you have to go with what the audience will click on and be excited about. And it won't always be the thing you want to talk about. The thing we want to talk about will not always be the thing people want to watch. That's why even as an entertainer, I think you should have your own platform at some point to do things your way, because there are entertainment channels that will be age gated or restricted or demonetized. So what do you do? So that's why I think some of you should have your own platform and become like your own Netflix, and even get with some of your homies and figure that out. And I think you should build your own Netflix, because with education channels, there are things we want to teach that also people aren't excited about. So it makes sense to either do something like Nebula, or do our own coaching, or do a Patreon, or do something, because there's just stuff that won't get views that will make up the difference of the time you put into editing and production. And if you're paying a staff, then that will eat up that as well. So you have to make it financially viable and sustainable. And that's hard when what you want to make won't always be what people want to watch. But to answer Jay-Z's question, we do 2 lives a week. One is a Q&A and one is a training. So we do that. Easy says, in case you missed my question earlier, have you ever tested any of YouTube's new experimental features as part of their product testing panel? Yes, but I can't talk about it due to NDA. I have tested a lot of things. I helped beta test a lot of things. I make recommendations, but I can't go into any details about it because of NDAs that exist. So the NDAs are a thing. NDAs are also an issue with the brand deals, by the way. Sonia says, the training on brand deals in the Awesome Creator Academy was super helpful. Oh yeah, Sonia, I'm glad. And you brought that up. She's a recent Academy member, and so she went straight for the brand deals. And I do think, by the way, I think that college, if you are going into medicine, engineering, and other stuff, is absolutely essential, because we don't want people doing things that aren't credentialed. And I think even for things like accounting, obviously financial services, I'm not saying that I'm anti-college. I'm saying that if you're a creative person, if you're a photographer, if you're a filmmaker, if you're an illustrator, if you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're a performer, you don't necessarily need to go that path, and it wasn't designed for you. It was designed for doctor, lawyer, engineer, nurse. It was designed for them. They will take your money, but they're not really made for you. Like, think about it. If you're a creative person, when in your life has the education system fully supported you in the same way as anybody else? If you're a creative person, or if you're neurodivergent, or if you feel like an outlier, like, think about it. If you are in that category, has the institutions really been there for you in the same way as they are for other people? And the answer is probably no. Like, the answer is probably no. But I don't think, if you can go to college on scholarship, I think you should go. If you can go on scholarship, then you should go. If your parents will pay for it, then you should go. If you want and you need a backup plan, and a lot of people from diverse backgrounds and minorities like feel that way or want a backup plan, like, then you should go if you can stomach the loans, if you can handle that situation. However, what I did was I went to community college. I advocate for going to community college for 2 years or more and then transfer. Again, don't take my advice. This is just me telling you my experience. Like, so I believe in going to community college. That's what I did. I believe in trade schools. I believe in that. I believe in certificate programs. I believe in those things, but I also am an employer myself. And never have I ever asked anybody who's ever worked for me as a freelancer or as a part-timer, or when COVID's over and we bring people in-house, I'm not looking for their degree. I'm looking for their results. But that's also the creative thing, right? That's also the creative thing. Now, if I were hiring for something else, sure. But if I'm hiring for creative work, creative professionals are judged on their portfolio and their references and their body of work and their skill set, not on when they went to school. I even got to work at an ad agency and I beat out kids who went to good schools because my work was better than theirs. I believe in hard work and proving results and building a reputation and having referrals and all of the dirty work. I don't believe that showing up and regurgitating facts and doing busy work for 4 years makes you more qualified, if we're talking about creative work exclusively, just for the creators, just for creative people, just for the performers, just for the artists, just for the musicians, just for the animators, just for the designers, the photographers, just for creative folk, not the white collar professionals in medicine and law, just for the creative folk. What I believe in is that your body of work, your reputation, and your results of your skill set are sufficient enough, and that you need no other qualifiers beyond that. And you just need to be better than the person hiring you, because that's what I'm paying for. So that's what I believe in. That's what I believe in. For those of you asking, and again, this is not a sales pitch or anything like that. If you go to www.awesomecreatoracademy.com, all of the information you need is there. And if you want to ask me questions about it, you can DM me at Roberto Blake over in Twitter or in Instagram. But I genuinely believe, my mother was a nurse. My mother went to school. My mother's a nurse. So again, I'm not knocking college in that way. I just don't think it's for everybody. And I'm only talking to my people. I'm only talking to creative people, and I'm only talking to outliers who that doesn't accommodate. You know, and again, I still believe in the trades. I believe in the trades, and I believe in community college. And again, if you want to go into something like, nursing, if you want to go into something like medicine, that's what my family traditionally goes into. Like on my mother's side of the family, we have a long lineage of people who go into the medical profession. My sister was looking at joining that lineage, but that didn't happen for her despite going to school, because guess what happened? Life happened. So there's things that happen to where even if you accommodate that, you can't do it. And then you're still stuck with the debt. You can't even file bankruptcy. That's my biggest problem. You can't file bankruptcy. So You know, I just don't feel it's for everybody. And so, but I feel it's pushed on everybody. As a marketer, I see it. As a marketer, I feel it's pushed on everybody. I feel society shames you for that. And I feel that's wrong. I feel that people should be allowed to be who they are and they don't have to be shamed for it. You know? And the thing is, if you want to go to school and to be part of the industry, I do think that there's value to it. I'm against the debt. I'm against the predatory loans and how the banks handle it. I'm against it not being able to be cleared by bankruptcy. I think that we would have a better society if we found a way to subsidize college. I think that there are better uses of our tax dollars than what we're spending it on that could subsidize college for people, or at least some college, or a couple of years of it, or do forgiveness predicated on you entering the career that you went to a degree for. Again, I should talk about this on my podcast or another channel, but I think that if you work in the profession that you got a degree in, that your loan should be forgiven in proportion to the number of years that you work in that career field. I think that for the number of years you work in that career field, your loan should be forgiven, or that all the colleges should be subsidized by the government. And then if they place you into, you pay if you get to work in that field. You pay if you get to work in that field. You know, coding boot camps, they do a thing where if you get a job as a coder, then you pay. So like, that's what but again, I digress. It's not, I turned this into a thing. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, but that's just one man's opinion. Like, that's just one man's opinion. You know, but I do agree with Dr. Scott here. If I hire an editor, I care about the quality of their product. If I hire a salesperson, I care about sales. Not everything needs a degree. That's the only point I'm really trying to make. Is that I think that a lot of you are finding in the new economy and after the virus that all the conventional methods and conventional wisdom hasn't always worked or played out in a way that was meaningful to you or was reflective of your lived experiences. And I think that somebody should say it. Like, I feel someone should be it. Ravi, I agree with you that, but I would just do something. But again, I can't do this. I'm not in charge. But like, if it's subsidized, I would cap cost. Like, I would, if it's subsidized, I would cap cost. But that's just me. You know? But we do live in a society where you can make money on your own terms, and we talked about how you can do it, and we gave realistic advice. And I was the first person to say, hey, let's figure out a reasonable point at which you could leave your day job effectively and reasonably and safely, and make sure that we're looking at your healthcare coverage, your benefits. Let's look at how much money you really would have to make this work. Let's look at where you live. Let's talk about that. Like, I tried to do everything I could to break this down as realistically as possible because I wanted there to be really solid information for anybody that's looking at this in a realistic and serious way, because I will not sell you the pipe dream of, oh, you could just do YouTube and everything like that, because I want people to take this seriously as a career. I want people to look at this as a valid industry that you're being a part of, because I think that the creator economy, I think that the influencer industry, I think this is just as legitimate as anything else. I think this is just as legitimate as everything else because it serves the market, and the market decided because the viewers voted with their eyeballs and they voted with their wallet. That's why I believe in this. That's why I believe we can become job creators, and that's what I want for you guys. I want to talk briefly about hiring. Since we're talking about degrees, this actually is a perfect segue for us to wrap up on. You know, there is something that I want to talk about with regard to hiring. Okay. So who should you hire and when should you hire people? This becomes extremely important because remember, earlier we talked about in our profit first model, we talked about this whole concept of spending money besides the tax stuff. Okay, operating expenses. So again, even at the like $100,000 tier of those expenses, like, okay, where's that going? Well, you might be hiring freelancers to help you edit, and that might not be a full-time person, so it's not going to be that 30,000. You might be paying somebody by the per video. You might be paying somebody per month. So if you're paying somebody, let's say you were paying somebody $1,500 a month to help you with the editing because they're working part-time and they're working remote from home. That's not so unreasonable. If you're paying someone $1,500 a month on payroll there, then let's see, times 12, 1,500 times 12, that's going to be like, it's going to be like 18,000 of that. Okay. So then the other $12,000 in operating expenses, that could be split up a lot of ways. That could be some gear that you upgrade to, some equipment, paying your accountants, paying lawyers to look over your contracts for brand deals. So that money like makes a lot of sense. Even at $100,000, it makes sense that you could be having part-time help that eats up half of that money, and then you could be having professional services that eat up half that money. You could be paying for software. This could be the internet that you're paying for your stuff. This could be partly to the electricity if it's going toward the business. This could be paying for things for your set. This could be something with regard to more hardware. There's a lot that this could actually get eaten up by pretty easily. And then you still have taxes at the end of the day. And then you still have to hold money in reserve for the business in case something else comes up. So, and that's, again, you have to pay yourself. So I think that when it comes to hiring people, you also have to look at what skills do you need within the business. Now, if you're a YouTube content creator, there's a couple other things you might need to hire for. Okay, you might need to hire someone. One of the first hires I made, again, I hired my sister to be a personal assistant to take back my time on other things in my business. So that was important to me to get back my time. So for some of you, that could be things like someone managing your email with the brands. That could be somebody helping you with setup, someone helping you with filming, someone helping you with editing. So I get a personal assistant. Then maybe you go to an editor. Some of you should outsource the thumbnail stuff. In fact, I'll give you a link for, you can use the YouTube starter kit if you like doing your own design work and if you want to pay for something once. But if you want to hire a service, I'm going to give you an affiliate link for custom thumbnails because, they do a good job. And then again, that is another affiliate link. So yay, affiliate income. But custom thumbnails, they do a good job and they work with a lot of people. I have another channel that I'm going to actually use them as an example for them hiring for. So custom thumbnails, I'm going to just put that that's an affiliate. So F, and then there you go. There's a link in the chat, and then I'll probably put it in the description afterward. But custom thumbnails, they're an affiliate. They're not a sponsor, but you could outsource your thumbnails if you get to a point to where you feel they could be better, or you just don't want to spend time on it. I offer the YouTube starter kit for people who want to customize their own thumbnails and want to learn about it. Other people hire an in-house graphic designer. I was an in-house graphic designer. I have someone on my team that also has that skill set, so we can actually, they do my presentation decks for my speaking engagements and stuff like that sometimes. So you can outsource things like graphics if you're not good at it. You can outsource video editing if you want your time back, or if someone's better at it. You could hire freelancers to outsource things that are one-time deals. There are people who need animations made for their intros or their outros, or even music produced for their channel custom. So when you want freelancers, where I go is, it's like an affiliate thing, but I go to Fiverr. So if you use my link, that's another affiliate link, robertoblake.com/go/Fiverr with 2 R's. Now, again, Fiverr has some ups and downs and has some problems. I've been critical of them in the past, but recently, I haven't made a video about this yet, but recently, to make a point, I hired a bunch of people from Fiverr. I had ups and downs with it. I spent over $1,000 in Fiverr recently to get some stuff done for the music channel, to be able to critique Fiverr fairly, because I felt, okay, to critique this fairly, I have to put my own money on the line. So I spent over $1,000. So, and I've actually spent more than that now. So I'm going to be making multiple videos, but I'm going to be reviewing different services from Fiverr because I'm going to be able to say, hey, I paid animators this much to do this for me. I paid designers this much to do this for me. I paid artists this much to do this for me, because I want to put my money where my mouth is and give it a fair critique and not a speculative critique. I want to pay for something and then I want to review it. All right. Just like anything else. So I've been using it, and there were like 90% of the people I hired were great. 10% were not. That's like everything, I think. So I thought that was fair. So I feel better about it now. And so sometimes you outsource one-off projects like animation or lower thirds or artwork, okay? Like character design or something. So I had a custom animation made. I had a character made for stuff for the music channel. I also had something else made differently for my Twitch stream. So what I would say is outsourcing things that either you're not good at or that you don't want to do. Like, again, personal assistant work, there's things I don't want to do. Sometimes I don't want to sort my mail or my inbox. So things you don't want to do, things you don't want to do that waste your time, things you hate doing, or things you're bad at. So do you hate it? Outsource it. Are you bad at it? Outsource it. Does it waste your time? Outsource it. You don't want to do it. You can't do it. You hate it. Outsource it. So you hire for that. Okay. You hire for that. And again, some of it could be temporary through freelancers. Other of it might be someone you want to hire in-house, part-time or full-time. All right. So a lot of you had questions about hiring. That's important and that's valuable. In terms of how you hire people, try to always put contracts in place. There are a lot of places where you can get those contracts either cheap or free or templates. Look into Ian Corzine and things he offers. You can look at Devin Stone, Legal Eagle. They offer a lot of great legal services for content creators, and they're professional YouTubers as well. So look into Ian Corzine, and also look into Legal Eagle Devin Stone, Legal Eagle Devin Stone, tongue twister there. And they have a lot of resources for the legal side of YouTube, and I recommend them. But again, you can get, you should have NDAs with the people who work on your brand, because you don't want people leaking brand deal information, for example, because you're under NDA from the brand and so is your team. So you want to have NDAs. They go both ways. Some people say, oh, NDAs are shady. No, NDAs are for legal purposes to protect other people's information. You want NDAs because they also mean that your employees can't disclose customer information, which is about you being able to protect the privacy of people you work with. So you have to be in that position to where all your people have NDAs, and then you also want legal contracts. So you want all that stuff in place. Cross your T's, dot your I's. It's just the way it is. All right. So everything is litigious. The other thing I would say is that by using good software and services, whether it's TubeBuddy, StreamYard, Bluehost, Kajabi, ConvertKit, all the things I use in my business, they reduced the amount of employees that I had to have, or part-timers or freelancers I had to have. And I was able to be solo for a very long time and get far. I was able to get 6 figures solo without hiring for a long time, but I was borderline overworking by doing that. But I wasn't overworking because of the tools, the systems that made my life easier and faster, the hardware and stuff that made it easier to film, edit, get stuff knocked out. So hardware and software investments can reduce the overhead in hiring people, because it means you can get more out of yourself. But also my tools, like I pay for my team to have Adobe Creative Cloud because it's what I use and it makes our workflow faster. So it's things like that as well. So this is important. We even have someone who says, Emma says, as a graphic designer and a freelancer, I 100% agree with a contract. It's amazing for communication and expectation of both parties, as well as protecting yourself. I couldn't agree more. The other thing I would also say is some type of project management software like Slack or Monday.com can be really great for coordinating with your team. Some people use Trello boards. So I like, for project management, I like Slack, Monday, and Trello for project management. Some people use the Notion app. So that could be very valuable to you guys as well, just from a project management standpoint. And so I honestly really think that that would make you hyper efficient. Google Drive helps you guys share resources. So that's another one. I'll be doing like a video about my resources, but you could also go to robertoblake.com/resources. You know, I like hiring like people in-house too, like not just freelancers and people from Fiverr, but I like hiring people in-house. When COVID's over, I want to hire more local talent from Atlanta specifically. But, you know, those things are important. Someone's asking, should you get an LLC for your YouTube channel? Look, putting a legal, like you will pay business taxes and self-employment taxes when you make self-employment income regardless. An LLC or even an S Corp, some of the value for that is that there are other benefits in terms of some things with your retirement accounts that you get to have by having that, like solo 401k stuff with the employee-employer deduction relationship, SEP IRAs. Again, I'm not a tax person, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a financial advisor, so disclaimer on that. There's all kinds of tax advantages potentially to having a pass-through entity, but the most important part of an LLC is having the protections of being a separate legal entity for the purposes of liability and liability insurance. So in business, we get business liability insurance for errors, omissions, lawsuits, and things of that nature. And then your personal assets are separated if you're using separate business accounts to maintain the corporate veil. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so you should talk to one. I'm not a CPA, so you should talk to one. I'm not an accountant, so you should talk to one. I cannot stress that enough. So the advantages of having something like a limited liability company or an S corporation, it's not as much just the tax potential situation there, although there is some things and you have to talk to them about the specifics, but the real answer is the liability and the separation of you as a legal entity and the protection of one's personal assets through establishing the corporate veil and the separate legal entity. So that's why that would matter. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I recommended two great ones. So that's something that you'll want to think about. We have this tremendous super chat from Viking Caveman. Hi, Roberto. I've been watching you since you had 100K subscribers, and I just wanted to say that I just recorded my first video with my fiance, and we just started a couples gaming channel, and even though it's taken me a long time, I feel like I'm ready. Well, I thank you, Viking Caveman. I really do appreciate that super chat, and I hope you and your fiance, I wish you both the best in this new venture that you're doing together. That's really dope. Yes, being transparent is important, but you still have to protect yourself and your brand. Absolutely, 1,000%. So again, like, I really feel that there is a value to understanding the business side of all of this. And then there are, again, some other advantages. You can take deductions without having an LLC. You can take deductions without having an LLC. But there are some other things that you'll want to look into, and there's reasons to have one. And like I said, the other thing with, by the way, insurance is you want to have business insurance because you can also get insurance for all of your equipment and gear so that you can have coverage for that. So in addition to renters or homeowners insurance, I recommend the business liability insurance for that. Extra travel insurance. Whenever I'm traveling, I pay the extra for the traveler's insurance to make sure that I have extra ways to protect my gear being lost in the airport or something of that nature if they make me check my luggage. So that's ultimately one of the most powerful things. Someone asked again what the legal channels were. Ian Corzine, and Legal Eagle, and his name is Devin Stone. So I would recommend both of them. They're both great YouTube lawyers. And so I really feel that if you really think about the business side, there's so much to it. Look at everything we talked about. We talked about the diversification of your income streams and your platforms. We talked about the importance of negotiating brand deals and pricing yourself. We talked about insurance and legal liability. We talked about the benefit of a day job. We talked about your qualifications and education investments. We talked about investing back into your business and your education as a content creator. And we even talked about the importance of liability insurance here just now, and also setting up legally. We talked about taxes. We talked about a lot of stuff that's really powerful for you to understand, and it's a lot, and it can get very overwhelming. There is a point where I do plan at some point to consolidate this information into a robust course of some kind, because there's even more that I could talk about just on the brand deal side. But what I really do think we have to really analyze is thinking about YouTube as a career opportunity. And then when we build out our business, we have to think about how are we marketing, how are we monetizing? Because even marketing and recognizing like your personal brand and thinking about how your personal brand and how you're perceived, because Benji talked about being a premium influencer. There are a lot of things that could get you to a point of being a premium influencer. That's not just limited to production values. It could be production values. It could be having a team. It could be any number of things. And so you have to position against that, and you have to think about what your market advantages are, and there's so much that goes into it, and it's taken for granted as, oh, you just make videos on the internet. And the thing is, that's so dismissive, and it's so reductive of what we actually do and how powerful what we do, and it kind of ends up disrespecting what our audiences believe in when people write us off in that way, and when people are reductive of us, because our audiences are consumers too. And there are people in our audiences who vote with their wallet and not just their eyeballs. And the value of the brand deals is proof of that, to be honest with you. And so I just want people to recognize the legitimacy of our industry and the value that we create. I want creators to negotiate better. I want creators to be job creators as well and hire people, whether they're freelancers or full-time, bring them into that. I want people to realize that this is an opportunity to leave a legacy for your family by creating a family business that empowers your family instead of making other people rich, and I think that this is real work and a real business. The classification of calling it a job, we could call it that. But I think that self-employment is more accurate because YouTube doesn't give us the benefits of an employer-employee relationship. So the thing is, I'm not as hard on saying, oh, YouTube isn't a job, because I feel like when people say that, they're trying to delegitimize what we do. But legally speaking, YouTube is self-employment. Legally speaking and financially speaking, YouTube is self-employment. So the thing is, I don't like people saying this isn't a real job, but I also don't like creators in their heads saying it's a job and then think about it like an employee, because I think the employee mindset is not compatible with the YouTuber or creator mindset. I don't think the employee mindset is compatible with being a successful content creator. I think you have to get to a place to where you realize your value is that of an entrepreneur, and that you are just pursuing a different form of entrepreneurship. Emma has a question, and then I think we'll wrap up. When just starting out, are these aspects you should be considering already, or is there a point when you know it's time to legitimize your business legally? I think that it's not a lot of money to file for an LLC. So the thing is, when you're in a position where you start thinking about something like brand deals, for example, you'll want to start protecting yourself with the liability insurance benefits of having a different legal entity. So the thing is, that's kind of where I start to think of it. And it's not that expensive to incorporate and to do. Some people wait till they're in a certain tax bracket for that. I just think that if you think you're ready to start either hiring people, there's reasons to have that LLC legal liability insurance. Even if you're hiring freelancers, it might be worth it. If you are working with a brand and you're being hired, it might be worth it then. Even if you yourself are a freelancer, it might be worth it just to have the protections of that so your personal assets aren't on the line. In terms of liability legally. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so talk to them. But I think that that's the real issue, is when you start taking it seriously from a litigious or legal perspective, that's the point at which it makes sense to me. So that's it. It's risk-based for me as far as I'm concerned. part of how you could treat it like a business, something I guess I could talk about before we go, because I really do have to go, is the bank account structure. Now, again, this is not financial advice, but I think that something to consider is having an account that is your like household account where the automatic payments come out of. So like you have your household account for your own personal bills and living expenses and automatic payments. I think you should have a savings account for the obvious reasons. I would prefer it to be a high interest bearing savings account for those reasons. And then I think that you need a business account, clearly, for separation of the corporate veil. I think you need an account. You don't have to do this. This is just kind of the way I approach it. Then I think you need an account for paying your taxes. So basically it comes out to, if you think about it, it really comes out to this thing that I was showing you. It comes out to, okay, do we have an account for taking care of our own stuff where the owner's draw goes to? Do we have a place for the business profits to potentially go to, which could be your savings? Like, do we have the operating expenses account? So for me, the operating expenses account is the business account itself. I have an account for the taxes. I have an account to pay my own bills and living personal expenses out of. And then I have a savings account where I'm holding profit. So that's how I think of things. That's how I do it. Is I break it up into that. Then I have all of my retirement accounts, multiple retirement accounts in my case. So for tax advantage purposes. But again, this is not financial or legal advice. You know, consult the appropriate professionals for that. So we have a super chat here. Great one. What do you think I can do to the content, but I don't want to do it and have the money to outsource them? I think that if you want to do the content, like I think if you want to make content, you have to commit to being a content creator. You know, I think that more than anything, what you have to do if you want to be a content creator is you have to make a commitment to your audience, and you have to look at how powerful the relationship one has with the audience can be. Because I think that more than anything, what a lot of content creators don't do is they don't take on the idea of how do I make the best thing possible in the best interest of my viewers, right? So when I make content, even these live streams, I went out of my way to like fix latency issues, improve camera quality, lighting, setup, everything, audio. Because I'm like, how can I make the best experience for my viewers? So how do I put my viewers first in terms of the experience of my content? How do I put my viewers first in terms of what you guys are interested in versus what I want to make? I can make things I want to make, but I don't always expect you all to watch. So how do I like put you first in terms of priority in my content? And I do that also by doing polls and talking to you in the community tab and talking to you on Twitter and thinking about what do you want? How do I answer your questions? How do I help you? And so I think about that. When I make products, me and my team get together and we analyze our audience and we talk to our Academy members and we think about how do we make everything better? So I think that the answer is if you're a new YouTuber, your first thing is to say, how do I get good? If you're a new YouTuber, how do you get good? How do you get good enough to be deserving of being made a priority by someone who doesn't know you? And that happens in terms of your topic choices, your titles, your thumbnails, the quality of your content, the experience of it, replying to every comment when you're new. When you're new, reply to every comment, every single one. When you're brand new, try to reply to every comment. Try to make viewers understand that you care about them and that you appreciate them taking the time. So there's that aspect of it. There's doing everything you can if you don't have a lot of money to still get better at editing with whatever you have, whether it's a free editing tool or not, just do the best you can. Learning your camera gear so that you know that you're making the best quality content possible. So all of it's important. You know, people said you also have to know your brand by focusing on what genre you're good at, what type of brand you know that will attract people to your unique style. You have to play to your strengths. You have to play to your strengths more than anything else. You can't just chase what you think other people want. Like, you know, you can't chase what other people want. What you have to do is you have to understand the balance between what do other people have an interest or excitement around that you are also good at. So, because if you just try to do what people want, but you suck at it, it doesn't matter. if people want something that you're bad at, it doesn't matter, right? So you can't do things you suck at. That's just how it is, unless you're willing to get good at them. Because if you suck at them, you could practice. You could practice, but you also have to recognize your natural abilities, your natural talents, your limitations. So you have to really think about, how is what I want to make aligned with my skills, that what I'm good at, that the audience also wants, that also makes me money. This is a rare balance. I did a video about it. It's the video on Ikigai and why 99% of people fail. It's that you have to balance, what am I passionate about, or at least what I don't hate. What don't I hate? Okay, what do I like that I don't hate? What am I actually good at? Not what I wish I was good at. What am I actually good at? And then what does the world need or the audience desire? And then what will people pay me for? And there has to be some kind of balance among those things, and then you will be successful. But it's up to you to figure out what that balance would even look like and what those things are. You need some self-awareness, and you also need to understand other people. And that's what's really hard. It's really hard to understand what other people want, because you have to actually listen. And then you have to also know what you want, which means you have to set some time apart and get quiet. You have to get quiet. You have to get to know yourself and learn yourself. You have to experiment. You have to be willing to experiment. You have to be willing to risk failure. You have to be willing to be risking rejection. You have to be willing to suck. You have to be willing to fall flat on your face. Most people will not be willing to do that. So most people don't succeed. Not to the extent that they want to. So like, that's what's really hard. Like, that's just what it is. So, it's right. There's no such thing as an overnight success. No such thing as an overnight success. So I think that just taking time to understand what you want and understand what is valuable to other people and understand why, and then also understand what you are good at or what you could become good at. That's powerful and that's important. Now, the other person said that what they want to do is they don't want to be in the video. They want to be a faceless YouTube channel. Okay, cool. Patty Galloway, James Johnny, they make amazing content and they're not the face of their content. And they do a great job. There are people who actually have a faceless YouTube channel. Remember, I have my music channel. It's a faceless YouTube channel. It's almost to 1,000 subscribers. Most of that is not people from this audience, by the way. But if you do want to support the music channel, and help us get to monetization, you can go to youtube.com/zenbuster and subscribe to the music channel. And then that's also copyright-free music. You could support us on Spotify. You can just type in my name into Spotify and you can find the music. But that channel is halfway to monetization on the watch time, which you guys could get it up there by listening to the music in the background while you work. But the watch time is almost to, actually I could log in and I could show you guys. The watch time is almost in just me starting from January of this year. I only started that channel January of this year. The watch time is up to 50% monetization, and almost all of that is from suggested traffic from YouTube's algorithm, not me promoting it. It's suggested traffic from YouTube's algorithm. And it's up to almost 1,000 subscribers, which may or may not be support from the community, but I really think a lot of it is, organic. But in the analytics, like, the music channel is kind of crushing it, and it's getting unique viewership. And most of that is just from, if I go to the reach tab, you can see for yourself let me go to 90 days. Okay, look at this. This is a channel that doesn't even have 1,000 subscribers. This is how YouTube is treating it. Most of its stuff is from recommendations. So most of this is the algorithm doing its thing. So this is really powerful. It's the suggested videos algorithm doing its thing. The most popular video on this channel has 13,000 views, and I'm going to show you something. It's this song getting 13,000 views. It's an hour loop. Look at that. It's all the YouTube algorithm. It's not me promoting it. It's the YouTube algorithm. This channel doesn't even have 1,000 subscribers, and when I upload this video, it certainly didn't. And it's just the YouTube algorithm, suggested videos algorithm doing its job. And so a faceless YouTube channel can be successful, and it may not even need an outside push. And it's about the audience deciding what they want and giving it watch time and giving it value. For the channel, the watch time from this was, the watch hours from this was over 1,000 hours, which means that 1/4 plus of the watch time for monetization came from one video. And it's not a viral video. It's just that it got 13,000 views and that it got 11,000 unique viewers and that YouTube's algorithm pushed it, which means that this is a faceless channel. This means the majority of people who listen to this song have no idea who Roberto Blake is. So that's what can happen from YouTube. Purely organic. Purely organic. So like, this is real. So the channel for this is Zenbuster Music. You can just go to youtube.com/Zenbuster. And again, I'm going to be, once this is monetized, I'll share with you guys the monetization process for this. But like, you can have a YouTube channel without your face and it be successful. And this channel is music, so it's not even personality driven. I'm not entirely convinced that there's a true personality driven channel. I think personality driven channels, we're calling them that, but I believe they're lifestyle channels. I believe they're lifestyle channels. So the thing is, I believe that YouTube channels can clearly be successful. I think there's a new wave of channels that will be successful off of being faceless channels. And I don't believe that they have to be personality driven. I believe that they can be lifestyle driven and they can be culture driven. So I think that culture drives everything. I think that people give personality too much credit. I think that culture drives everything. And there's a culture for music channels and types of, music and things like that. And I think there's a culture for types of content and gaming and just any number of things. And I think that when you get to see data like this, which is the rare thing you get to see, is that when you see data like this, you get to really see that there's stuff. And that video wasn't a fluke, by the way, because there's like other videos. What's another one? There's like other videos. There's a video here that has almost 2,000 views. Where is it? Here it is. Here's another one. This video has almost 2,000 views. Algorithm, suggested videos, algorithm. So again, it's not a fluke. It's that there are videos that do things differently and there are different traffic sources. We talk about this in the monetization side of YouTube thing. So again, I just wanted to bring this up as an example of the simple fact that you can be successful on YouTube in a lot of different ways, and you can do it without showing your face, and you can do it with content that is not necessarily dependent on your personality, your face, or anything like that. And that the algorithm can promote small YouTube channels without an external push. Like, it just takes really hard work to do, and it takes thoughtfulness, and you have to also give people some value. Like, I mean, Insane McLean says Zenbuster is my sleep music. Yeah, so I created something where people can relax, reduce anxiety. I created specific value, and I did it without having to do education content, So yeah, I can monetize that music because in my case, I paid a producer. I paid, like, guys, to build Zenbuster Music as a brand. I'm going to do a case study on this because you have no idea. Like, I literally, between paying animators, paying digital artist, and paying audio producer to make me we haven't even released the next 12 tracks, but to make me like 20, 30, we're going to release like 50 tracks, 50 more tracks probably. Like, I had original music produced. I put thousands of dollars into building a new brand. Now, there are other people who make music channels. They pay $0 because they use other people's music copyright free. I could have done that, but I wanted to build something new. And I also, as one of my big pushes for the creator economy is I wanted to create. Harris Heller is a great inspiration to a lot of content creators in business models and different things. He crushes it with Twitch streaming. He's making great content for streamers and creators, and I love what he, his wife are doing, and with Sam and everybody over at Senpai HQ. But with Harris Heller with the Alpha Gaming about to be Senpai HQ, he's been inspiring a lot of people to add copyright-free assets out there for content creators, and I'm no exception. I'm like, okay, I see the value in this. I see the value of creating copyright-free music. I see the value of creating something that I would want to use or consume on stream or on videos or something like that. So I made what I would want. And so I'm making copyright-free stuff. Me and Frost FM, my producer, will be able to make royalty income off the Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon stuff in the future. There are people who are going to buy the music. And so there's copyright-free people that also promote and push the brand and the channel. Once YouTube monetizes it, that's going to help as well. And then we're going to put the money, or at least I'm going to put the money back into making more stuff that helps the creators. So you can, but again, you don't have to do things my way. You can do things your way. Also, you could do, like Harris said it himself. He hired music producers on Fiverr. He and his wife are music producers as well, but he also needed to scale, so he outsourced some stuff to Fiverr. I believe in that. So again, that's why we put this out there. But I just want to help you guys understand that value creates value. Value creates value. That's the business model thing. That's what I believe in. And so, like I said, you can check out youtube.com/Zenbuster, and that's the music channel. But this specific music is copyright free. If there's something that's not, we'll let you know. The only song that is not copyright free because I screwed up the first time when I hit a button in DistroKid is Cloudmaster. Out of all the tracks, and we're like dropping like another 12, so we'll have like 25 tracks. The only track that is not copyright free is Cloudmaster. That's the only one. Cloudmaster is like the only one. Thank you for I think this is like a $50 super chat or something in your country's thing. Thank you, Fat Guy 888. If you do decide to do the 90-minute one-on-one and you have a different time zone, we'll just change in the calendar to address the time zone for you if you do the coaching. So appreciate you with the coming through with the $50 super chat on top of everything else. That's insane. But yeah, value creates value. How much royalty am I making on DistroKid? Right now, because there's like a 3-month delay. So we're not making I don't think we're making anything yet because you don't get royalties from, there's a 2 to 3 month delay, and we started uploading that stuff in January. So there's nothing yet. We'll see what it is. We'll see what it is in a couple of months. But we also don't have a huge following on my Spotify or on Apple or any of that. So until there's push, we don't even have 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel yet. So until there's push, I don't see there being a lot of royalty there. But I do think that once we get up to like 20, 30,000 streams a month, that we can make some real money and clear over $1,000 across the platforms. But I think it has to scale. But it's a great question. Ethan Vlog says, how do you get a one-on-one session? If you go to awesomecreatoracademy.com, if you go to, and there's also something for YouTube channel reviews, just for something more affordable for a lot of you. I'll just put the link for the YouTube channel reviews because most of you just want to do the 30-minute. Most of you just want to do the 30-minute session, and that might be more affordable for a lot of you versus the 90-minute deep dive into the business side. But I'm just going to drop that link in the chat real quick. But I think it's also in the description of the videos. So if you just go to awesomecreatoracademy.com/channel-review, then that actually will take you to where you can do a 30-minute session, which is what most of you probably would want, or at least to try that first rather than committing to a longer session of some kind. So, but again, there's no pressure on that. And like I said, I only think it's for people who are monetized and want to go further than they've gotten with free content to get specific one-on-one advice. So that's the only thing. And it's only because people asked for it, because I didn't want this to turn into some promotional stream. Angel, thank you for the super chat. What is the going rate for selling sunset time lapses or travel vlog reel to stock? So it depends on if you go into an exclusivity deal or not, and it depends on the licensing, because you can actually set those things yourself to some extent, and it depends on what rights you can give to it. So the thing is, it's different for a lot of platforms, but exclusivity would pay more, but it would limit you. Whereas I would rather just be non-exclusive, but take less per every individual one. So I can't vouch. Plus the platforms will change that at their discretion. So I can't vouch for how much the going rate is. I will say that your best interest is to post as much content to stock footage sites as possible. Actually, I tell urban noise music, I have a secret strategy I'll share with you here on the stream. I have a secret strategy for how I'm going to grow my following on Spotify and all of that and make more royalties off the music. I'm going to use YouTube Shorts to do 59-second cuts of the music and use it specifically to drive traffic to the Spotify instead of the YouTube channel, because of the virality of YouTube Shorts. The virality of YouTube Shorts is so powerful that I actually refuse to use it to boost the YouTube channel, and to use that viral traffic so that 2% of all that traffic from that virality goes to something else that makes money outside of YouTube. So I want to leverage YouTube for my own purposes, instead of giving YouTube 100% of the value. See what I did there? See what I did? Because I'd rather grow my Spotify following for royalties of free music in perpetuity instead of just my YouTube content for free AdSense revenue. I want to grow the free listens, and then I want to start making $2,000 or $3,000 off of my music library. Once we get my music library to 50 tracks or something like that, if we can then get my music followers to 10,000, 40,000, 50,000 followers, I'm going to make equal or greater money off of YouTube, off of free music forever. And so I want to leverage YouTube's traffic for my purposes instead of just giving YouTube 100% of the value. So my strategy for YouTube Shorts will always be to use it as an external driver for the most part, instead of just trying to siphon it to grow my YouTube channel. Hey Frost, what's up? What's up, buddy? So that's my strategy. And so you're welcome, guys. I just literally gave you the entire game. Because like I'd rather think of YouTube as a tool than a goal. A lot of people, and there's nothing wrong. If you want to be a big YouTuber, if that's been your dream, I get it. There's a culture for that. I'm 37. I'm almost be 37 this summer, so I probably am like too old to say YouTube's my dream, and I didn't grow up with it. But like for me, my dream has always been to work for myself. My dream has always been to be a creator and to be able to create for a living, because a lot of people in my family had the talent and never got to do it. So I just want to, I want to do that, and I get to do that. I get to do that every day. I get to make things I want. I get to take photos and not worry about making money. I get to make videos. I get to do whatever I want for the most part, and I get to serve a great community. I get to spend time with you guys. So I just, I like that I get to do all of this, and YouTube has certainly helped, but to not have to be on the YouTube treadmill forever, I'm building out those other revenue streams like I told you about. I'm building out a royalty. I'm building out a path to more royalties outside of YouTube. So guess what? I'm going to be doing content that doesn't fit the YouTube channel, but teaching other skills I have. I'm going to teach that on Skillshare. And eventually, I think if I keep putting video editing and Photoshop content and Photoshop tutorials on Skillshare, I think eventually I'll make more money off of Skillshare royalties than YouTube ad revenue at some point if I do enough of it. If I do enough of it, I won't have to make as much content for Skillshare because of their revenue model to make royalties equal to YouTube ad revenue. So I think that for me, that's another path because I'm an educator, right? So royalty income from Skillshare, royalty income from Spotify and the other streaming services, because I can partner with great people like Frost and we can both make money and we can both do well. So we're going to work together. We're going to create and collaborate instead of compete. So that's wonderful. I feel like I can still do some other stuff with LinkedIn Learning after COVID, and I can keep making royalties off of that for the marketing side, for the professional marketers and social media folks, okay, outside the content creators. So it's another audience that I can serve. So that's the royalty system I'm putting in place. Affiliate, I think I can scale other affiliate programs. I think if I teach you guys how to build digital products, you'll end up using things like I do, like Kajabi. There are some of you looked at my coaching business. It's like, look, and that does very well. If you want to know what platform I'm using, robertoblake.com/go/Kajabi. I'm going to drop it here and then I'll show you how it's spelled because it's complicated. But if you guys use that, that's one of my affiliate links. I can scale that. If I scale that one day, I might make as much as I make from it from TubeBuddy, and that would be recurring. So then I would, know that that's going to happen every month as long as you guys like it and you're doing business with them. Then that's going to help me. It's going to help you. Everybody wins. So I'm happy with that. So I can scale affiliate, e-commerce. I can do more stuff with Awesome Creator Academy with the coaching business, but also I can do a digital asset business around just templates with all the designers I know, freelancers I can hire. I can just do e-commerce and build a completely e-commerce business that you could support. Even if you don't know who Roberto Blake is, you can support a creator template store. So we can do that. There will be things that I know I'm going to make. I'm going to make LUTs packs and presets. I know that there are people like me who edit photos and videos that have darker skin tones, and you never have presets or LUTs that fit your skin tones. I'm going to make them. And I'll sell them just like Peter McKinnon sells his LUTs and presets on Sellfy. I'm going to do that too. I love Sellfy. I finally have something that makes sense to put there that's affordable and cheap. I'm going to put my photo presets for darker skin and my LUTs packs on Sellfy and sell them for like $15, whatever. And I think that's going to be valuable to people. So I'm going to make that product. That's e-commerce. Any of you can do that. I'm going to do more stuff with my merchandise. I actually hired freelancers on Fiverr. I spent blah, blah, blah on Fiverr to have my merch redesigned. And I'm going to make that video. But I had merch designs done to see if people could do something different that I had in my head that I wasn't good enough to make. And I'm not a pattern designer, so we had leggings and we had a pattern made for mask and we had one made for leggings for people who want leggings. And because I'm not a pattern designer, so we had one made. So that's print on demand. That's another form of e-commerce because you don't pay up front, but you split the revenue share and they make them print and made to order and do fulfillment for you. So you don't have to do the shipping yourself. That's another business model for you as content creators with e-commerce. And then there's the brand deals. Remember, we talked about building a premium brand and then charging for it and doing the brand deals. So I believe in all this stuff and I'm doing it. That's why I'm talking to you about it. I don't talk to you about things that I'm not willing to try to do myself. Roberto, how are you able to do all these things? Well, partly, at first I started by myself and I'm a freak of nature and I don't have anything resembling a social life, which is fine because I never had social graces. So since I had never had social graces and I'm an introvert and then don't have a social life outside of conferences and events, thanks COVID, I was able to do this because I don't watch TV until now I do because now I have time. But yeah, I gave up nights and weekends when I was doing it solo. I hired people and I got a bunch of that stuff back. And then, that mattered. So I scaled my time, used my time very efficiently. I bought things that sped up my time. So I'm able to do all these things because I think about it all day. I like it all day. And then, I don't have a social life. So that helps. I'm single. That helps. So yeah, that hermit life, that hermit life, I live like a monk. So it makes it easy to do everything. That's just how it is, for real. I'm dead serious. I'm being dead serious. It's like, how can I do all of this? It's simple. I live like a monk. That'll do it. So that hermit life. You want to make a lot of money? Live that hermit life. I'm telling you, for real. So, that'll do it. But ultimately, it's because I have great people. I couldn't do the music stuff or not the way I would want to if it wasn't for the help of Frost. If it wasn't for Frost, I couldn't do the music channel the way that I want to. I couldn't do it the way that I envisioned. If I didn't invest into my gear, this stuff would take longer. If I didn't have a great community that supports me with their eyeballs and their wallet, none of this would be possible. And I couldn't work with Frost because I couldn't afford to pay him. You know, I have a wonderful team that supports me. I have the wonderful and lovely and talented Andy Rivera. I have, like, you know, Brooke, who's a real trooper. Like, you know, she's helping me. I have my sister who is, like, working within my business and helping to make this a family business. So I have the support of wonderful people in my life. I have the support of an amazing community and all of you. I am blessed to have the abilities and talent and to be born in the greatest era and time of entrepreneurship. If I have any privilege, it's that I was born relatively healthy and born in the perfect time era that suits my skills and my abilities. And I would say that's the extent of my privilege for the most part, aside from being born in America. Because other than that, if I had luck, it was bad, like, for the most part, aside from that. And I made the most of the cards I was dealt. I didn't, like, come from money. My family struggled financially for a very long time, me being no exception to that. And all of this allowed me to help support the people I love and to help take care of them, to hire wonderful and amazing people to be part of my business and my journey, to help me build a legacy, to help me create more value, to scale it. So, I mean, everything I do is because I was able to make the most of what I had where I was. Little that might have been, I made the most of it. And then from there, with the support of the people who could support me, I ended up being able to create tremendous value for a community that I love, and by doing the things that I love. Then ultimately, I used the fruits of that labor rather than buying a Lamborghini, which there's nothing wrong with that if that's your thing. I mean, there's car guys and so like that, and car gals, and that's fine. But like, instead of buying frivolous things, I invested everything back into growing and scaling my business by creating resources, creating a better experience for all of you, investing back into creators, building my business to be independent of YouTube, building other things, building things that help people, and then hiring a wonderful team and helping them to provide for their families and their future, and providing for my family. And so great partnerships and hiring other people, even people outside the States, and changing their lives. So what you should take away from this is that value creates value. Creating value is the thing that you have to do. You have to create value, and you will be rewarded in life in proportion to the value that you create for other people. That is just the truth. So I just believe in that philosophy, and I've lived my life around that idea, and you guys have seen the evidence of it over the last 8 years of me being, at least from a YouTube content creator. I've been a content creator longer than I've been on YouTube, but you guys have seen it in the most realistic way in that regard. Like, you guys have seen it there. So like, I think that if you look at things the way that I've tried to present them, it may not be for all of you the way that I do it, but I'm hoping that the way I'm outlining it is practical for enough of you, or at least if not, it inspires you to figure out what is practical for you and then apply it. It's not enough to have the knowledge, you have to deploy it, because I think I had the knowledge in my 20s and I think I just wasn't deploying it, and I think that was what I could call my misspent youth. Zeta, just don't change your channel account type. I think it's fine if it's a brand account, if that's where you started. Just don't change anything else on it from that standpoint, or talk to YouTube about it before you do anything like that. So don't worry about it. Ashley's review says, do you have any advice for those who get discouraged? When motivation fails you, discipline will not. My best advice for anybody, I've made motivational videos before. I think there's a motivational playlist on the channel. Also, you can listen to Zen Buster music for motivation. But the best advice I have is, when motivation fails you, discipline will not. The success that I have is built on discipline to do things even when they're difficult, being consistent at those things and being patient enough to wait for those results in delayed gratification. And any secret I have to success is summed up in really those three things outside of the details that I've shared with you today. Aside from the details of execution and mindset and process that I shared with you today, my secret to success is only derived from good old-fashioned values of discipline, to do things even when they're hard, consistency to show up when it's inconvenient, and patience to wait for the payoff. And that's literally it. That's all I really focus on. And that's enough. And that's enough really for almost any of you if you apply that and deploy that, I swear. So I think that's what matters. Amberl here, just wanted you to know that I adore you and thank you for changing my life. I got into Rolling Stone because of you and a best-selling author. Well, congratulations to you, Amberl. That is amazing. That is tremendous. Wow, that's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal. So yeah, yeah, I believe in those things. And again, I don't think that I'm perfect. I don't believe in the concept of role models. I don't believe in the concept of role models, but I do believe that people's success can be inspiration or can be a framework or an outline for your own execution. I believe in that. I don't believe in the concept of role models. I don't think that anybody is how you should live your life, because you're the one who has to live with the consequences. I don't think you should put creators or successful people, even me, on a pedestal, because we will ultimately, I believe you should have high standards for yourself and low expectations for other people. Even me. High standards for yourself and low expectations for other people. Even me. Because it's my experience that because people are mortal beings and they have their own egos and their own insecurities and their own problems, that if you put them on a pedestal, they can only fall because they will disappoint you, because they're going to disappoint themselves. People are going to disappoint themselves, so how are they not going to disappoint you? I think it's unreasonable and unfair to hold people up as role models, and I also think it doesn't respect your own journey to do so. That's why I have that philosophy, because when I stopped putting people on pedestals, and I think it started even with my parents. When I realized my parents were just human beings trying to make the best of what they had, it became easier, and I became more lenient and more forgiving of my parents and the mistakes that they made or things that they didn't understand, because I realized that they were just people. They were just people trying to make their way in the world. And that's real. And your parents are going to disappoint you. So why are you going to expect things from strangers? You're going to expect things from strangers when your own family is going to ultimately, through no fault of their own, disappoint you and let you down? That's a real thing. So I think what we do is we hold ourselves accountable, we hold ourselves to high standards, and we expect very little or nothing from other people, and we let them be human, and we just literally look at what we can take away from their example that is positive and is worth repeating, and we leave behind the rest, and we just be grateful for the value that they can create for us. And you learn to take the good with the bad. You learn to take the good with the bad, and that's all it is. And so what I believe in, and what I've shown you guys, and there's someone asking how much I make from YouTube. Rewind to the beginning of the video. Rewind. I get through all of that already. Rewind to the beginning of the video. But what I want you guys to take away is I want you guys to look at how you are creating value. Look at who is creating value for you, and look at how you're going to produce value for everyone you interact with. Use that to set yourself up for success, and use the advantage that you have of the time that we live in, because it's never been a better time to be a creative person. It's never been a better time to be a creator. It's never been a better time. And I think there's so much opportunity in the creator economy. There's so many opportunities in these platforms, and not just YouTube. Don't be a YouTuber, be a content creator. Look at the opportunities that exist for you in multi-platforms and multi-revenue streams like we talked about. Affiliate, e-commerce, royalties, and also brand deals are all on the table for you on top of ad revenue. All of it's there. All of it's there for you, and it can mean that you can finally be independent. And the thing is, I think the more diversity you have, the more stability you have in terms of your income and your influence and your ability to make an impact. I truly believe that. 100%. And that's how I'm operating. That's how I'm moving. And again, I don't say any of this for you to hold me up as an authority or as a role model or any of it. I only want you to benefit from my example and my execution, and that's it. I want you to benefit from my example and execution. I don't want you to take a moralistic view of anything that I'm saying. I want you to listen to your own heart and follow your own principles and your own values. And your own values. And if there's anything that I've given you that's valuable, I want you to take away from that. And if there's anything I have given you that isn't valuable, I want you to leave it behind. Because you're the one who has to decide, and you're the one who has to live with the brand that you're building and the business that you're operating and the life that you're living. And no one else gets to decide whether that's the right thing or wrong thing for you, even me. Even me. It's not my place to decide what's right for you or what's best for you. It's my responsibility to give you the value that I have and let you make the most of it and let you decide what's right for you. So anyway, I got to head out, guys. I've enjoyed our time together. It went longer than I thought it would, longer than I've planned. I don't have a voice anymore, so I've got to go. I've got to put on some Zen Buster music to go to sleep now. I've got to dip out, and I've got to eat a little something and then let that digest. But I want to thank everybody who commented. I want to thank everybody who, super chatted. I want to thank everybody who joined us this evening. And I want to thank our great sponsors, StreamYard and TubeBuddy, for all the support that they give. I really do appreciate it. I want to thank you guys for another tremendous month here. This month in March, what we're going to do is we're going to probably focus on some more things that actually can help you with each and every one of these. So we'll do it somewhat in the priority that you guys want to do it. But I want to talk about, because we've talked about brand deals and stuff before, I want to talk about e-commerce and things like that. I think we might do a print on demand stream 2 weeks from now. I have to work all that out. That might have a specific sponsor. I want to do a print on demand stream. I want to do a stream on creating digital products in terms of that. I want to do a stream on affiliate specifically. And then I think I want to do another stream on brand deals, so that like we can have March be like a money, March be like kind of like a money month. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that. And again, we may deviate from that. Like, I don't know. We might even do channel reviews, and we might spread this out more. I don't know. But I kind of want to get into deeper dives on business and actually show you guys how to do some of this stuff at a technical level. I think some of that is better suited to a live stream than trying to edit a YouTube video and then showing you it in real time. So I just kind of feel like that makes sense. I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in, because I know a lot of you love the channel reviews. But I think that this could be even more valuable to you. So, I mean, I'll let you guys decide through polls and things of that nature. And again, I think a lot of you could get started with print on demand and make some good money pretty easily. So it's just something I've been thinking about. I'm going to be making a lot of videos about print on demand, by the way. So just, stay tuned for that. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. Have a great night. Stay awesome. And we'll catch you next time. Cheers.